Alright, welcome in everyone, welcome in. Thank you for clicking on the video. But yeah, before we get into the video itself, there's some stuff I want to clarify. I've nearly finished this entire video by the time I'm recording this section, and yeah, my scope of this project when I started the video editing versus what it turned out being are two different things, and I feel like I just need to clarify that. The first thing I want to clarify is what I mean by days, because I referred to days at the start of the video like a lot. Essentially, the plan was for me to sit down, play the Master System for a day, play a ton of games, finish some stuff, and then the next day edit that all together and have a whole little like section, and each section would have been a day. Now, I fell apart in the editing. I didn't mean fell apart, but honestly that fits. I meant fell behind, but you know, yeah. I fell behind in the editing, so you know, the days stopped being edited as each individual things, and also, honestly, the days system kind of fell apart when I started, like, really putting a ton of time into individual games. You know, it felt wrong to have, like, 3 different sections on me just trying to beat, like, Wonder Boy 2. Let's be honest here, it was more than 3, it was, like, weeks. You know, love Wonder Boy 2. But, yeah, so, you know, I kind of just fully gave up on that concept by, like, the second half of the video, so, you know, you'll hear me refer to it at the first half. That's what it was about. And then the next thing I want to address is audio quality. I like to think the audio quality gets better as the video goes on. I like to think it does, so bear with me for the start. Yeah, is there anything else I want to address? Video's a mess, I can tell you that. Oh, the history aspect of it, that was the final thing. Yeah, so I originally wanted to go a lot more into the Master System's history and whatnot. This video ended up being like 3 hours long, and I've been working on it for like forever. So yeah, near the second half of the video things were you know, cut out history-wise. So please don't use this video as a full like comprehensive like history lesson on the system. You know, there'll be little things here and there talking about the history, but yeah, don't use this as a full-on source, please. It's rough, you know, but yeah, with that, enjoy the video. Yeah, I'll see y'all, like, months in the past.
Hi, hello, I guess this is my intro. Well, that rhymed. Anyways, yeah, I'm over on Twitch, and I'm currently starting the process of checking out every single North American Sega Master System released game. And I figured I'd make a little video, like documenting that process and my thoughts on the games and how it's going. And yeah, you know, I figured I'd make something that isn't 100 hours long, you know? Yeah, so let's, before I get into the games, let's do just a little recap on what the Master System is. So, the Master System, it's made by Sega. It is their first console released in North America, though it is not their first console. That would go to the SG-1000, which it didn't sell very well. It overall didn't do very well. And Sega was like, okay, we got it this time. We're gonna make the Mark III or SG-3000 something. I think I'm telling lies. Yeah, that happens. This isn't super scripted, as you can tell, but yeah. So, Sega made that, they released it in Japan, it didn't do super well. It was released in, let's see, October 85 in Japan. Yeah, didn't do super well. So they were like, okay, so this Famicom thing that's now being sold as the NES over in America, that's doing really well. So let's try doing that. Let's rebrand the Mark III as the Master System, and we're gonna introduce it to North America, and that released in September 86. And that is also the month that I'm gonna be checking out in my first day checking out the games. Yeah, so, yeah, all of the games that I'm talking about coming up, they're all released in September 86. So, yeah. And, yeah, Sega released the Master System in North America. It did not do super well at all, really. Like, it wasn't a complete failure, but I think it sold, like, half what they wanted it to. Like, honestly, more like a third. But, yeah, like, it was rocky. But I know I haven't looked too much into it because this isn't what I'm covering, really. But the Master System actually sold really, really well in Europe. It was released in Europe in '87. And yeah, it did really, really well over there. But yeah, that's not really what I'm covering, but I just wanted to acknowledge that this is a console, that those British people, that those Europeans, they love this console. But that's not the perspective I'm looking at this console through. So, yeah. I'm trying to think if there's any other history, little recap stuff I want to do. I don't really think so. I think let's get right into it, I think. Let's get right into the games. So, yeah. Starting with Hang On. I personally really like this game. It's your standard 2D racing game and whatnot. And it just controls really well. It has a very good just sense of speed, and like the drifting feels good, and there's gear shifts and whatnot, and that all just feels very good, very well done. This is a game, it doesn't go for much, it doesn't have many bells and whistles, but what it does very, very, very well. But while playing it, I gotta question why it's the pack-in game. I know Hang On was a very popular arcade game, but the arcade game is like a lot better than this version, you know? And it makes me wonder why they decided to market the Master System with this port of the game. Like, it's a good port, but there was just no way it could hold up to the arcade version, you know? So like, if you buy the Master System expecting like arcade quality, you're gonna be instantly disappointed, you know? And yeah, it's a little baffling to me. I think the pack-in should have been a Fantasy Zone, but you know, that's just me. And on to the next game, that is Ghost House. Yeah, I'm going straight to Ghost House. If anyone's familiar with the Master System, you'd know that Hang On was paired with Safari Hunt. I was not able to get my light gun working on this day. I plan on checking out Safari Hunt the next time I play the Master System, but for now, it's been pushed back. So, yeah, also just on that topic, I wasn't able to actually find a copy or anything of Snail Maze? Something. I honestly forget the name of the game right now, that's my bad. But, yeah, I wasn't able to find a Master System that, like, had the game, so yeah, just wanted to acknowledge that real quick. And yeah, so Ghost House. I really like this game. It's cool. So essentially, it's like a clunky little action platformer style thing where you go into like this haunted house and you gotta like kill all the little ghosts and bats to find keys, and then you use those keys to open up Dracula's coffin, and then you fight Dracula, and then you do that 5 times, collecting treasures each time, and then you, at the very end, you go through a magical door, and that brings you to the next level, and it's cool. It's really cool. Yeah, maybe I'm just biased because I'm gonna be honest. Haunted House for the Atari 2600 is like my favorite game on that console. I fucking love Haunted House. But yeah, Ghost House. I really like this game. It's silly. It's silly. It's fun. It's yeah, I like it. I really like it. I think I will say though, I think I've gotten all of the enjoyment I'm going to get out of it. You know, like I played a bit of the second level, and it had new enemies, it had a like a mummy, which is cool, but it was a very, very, very similar level to level 1, which makes sense because this game, it came on the Master System cards, which were essentially budget games released on like a, not like a full cartridge, so they could be like cheaper and sold as budget games. So it makes sense why the levels don't have too much variety in them, but yeah. I really like this game. I'm not sure I'm gonna go back to it though because of that lack of variety, but I really like this game, yeah. And up next is Astro Warrior. Yeah, this is a early shoot 'em up and whatnot. I've really only done the first level so far, but I like it. It's good, it's cool. I like how both buttons on the Master System controller, they both work towards shooting and whatnot, and it makes button mashing very easy. I wish I didn't have to button mash in this game, but, you know, that's kind of an issue I have with most shoot-em-ups of this time, especially. But, yeah, I really like how this controls. I like the enemies. The one boss I've fought in so far, it's a good boss. I like it. Yeah, I want to play more of this, for sure, absolutely, yeah. And up next is Fantasy Zone. I really like this one. This one really surprised me. I've heard of the franchise before. I've never played any of the games, but I can see why this is one of the franchises from the Master System that I've lived on and whatnot. Yeah, it's another shoot 'em up, except it's not your traditional shoot 'em up. Essentially, you play. The stages are really small, but they loop, and you have to defeat every single enemy base in the level. And when you do that, you'll get to a boss, and there's also like there's like a money system where you can like buy items and whatnot, and like there's strategy to it. There's a lot to it, and I really, really like this one. This one really surprised me. Yeah, as of right now, I think the best I've done is I've gotten to the 3rd boss so far, but yeah, I really, really like this one. Also, like, going into this one, I really thought, like, the colors would be, like, too bright and, like, really hurt my eyes after a while, but no, like, they're desaturated, like, just enough to where it works, and, like, yeah, it gives the game this really cool aesthetic, and, you know, I really like this one. Yeah, I want to play more of this, absolutely, absolutely. Like, this one's cool. Something that surprised me about it is, during the boss is just how many bullets are on screen at once, and like there's no like screen flickering or slowdown or really anything like that. Like, yeah, it's really cool. I was honestly really impressed by this game. But yeah, up next is My Hero. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't play a lot of this game. I liked what I played. It's very fast-paced. It's very, very fast-paced. It reminds me of, Dr. Jellican and Mr. Hyde for the NES. If it was, like, just faster. You know, like, it's a fun game, but it didn't get much staying power with me. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'd play more of this one. If I have the time, I might, but yeah, it's not a super high priority for me, but fun game nonetheless, very fun game, yeah. And up next is Teddy Boy. This one, I found this one to have a really interesting concept in the way it just felt and whatnot. Essentially, it's an action platform that takes place on like on a single screen, except that single screen loops around left to right and vertically. And you gotta kill all of the enemies on that screen as they all run around. And also, once you kill them, they turn into like little bouncy balls, and you gotta collect the bouncy balls in time. And if you don't collect them in time, then they eat away at like your time limit. And like, it's a really interesting concept, but I'm gonna be honest. There's not much to it, and also one of the stages like hurt my eyes. It was really bright. Yeah, this is, I feel like this is our first, like, proper miss of a game on, the Master System. So, that's a shame, but up next is shoplifter. Yeah, I feel like I need to play more of this game. I feel like I need to play more of it. Like, I played it enough to kind of understand what I was doing, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if this game has multiple levels or really anything like that. Like, I haven't gotten very far in this one. But yeah, essentially you control a helicopter. It's very momentum-based controls, which I'm not quite sure how I feel about. The camera has a little issue, I guess. I don't know. As soon as you stop, like, holding forwards, like if you're just trying to coast forwards, like push nothing, just coast forwards, the camera, like, just stops moving, essentially, and that, like, causes you to hit, like, the edge of the screen, and then, like, enemies can just spawn in you, and, like, it doesn't feel great, but it's an issue that's fixed if you just keep holding forwards, you know? Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted there. But yeah, you control a helicopter, it's very momentum-based, and your goal is to land on the ground and rescue people, then bring them back to your base without getting hit. And yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, I want to play more of this one, because I'm not sure I fully understand the depth of it yet, but if it really is only that one level, I'm a little disappointed, I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, that's gonna wrap up all the games I played on my first day checking out the Sega Master System. All in all, I'm really impressed. Like, there's not a ton of games out just yet, but for the most part, I really liked all of these games that I was able to play. And I'm really looking forward to what else, you know, what else comes out, you know? Like, I can't wait for there to be, like, a game that I can, like, really sink time into. You know, like, I love these arcade games, but I want something that I can play for, like, hours and, like, keep making progress in, you know? Like, I want something to really sink my teeth into, you know? Yeah. But, yeah, that's day one. Alright, hi, it's time for day 2 of my deep dive into the Master System. Today I got all the way up to, all the way through December of 1986. So, yeah, the first game we need to address though is, I played Safari Hunt. I wasn't able to get it working yesterday. So, yeah, I got it working, played it, and here's my little review. So, yeah. Safari Hunt. So yeah, Safari Hunt. It's a light gun game, but I personally do not have a light gun, but I was able to play the game with a mouse, a computer mouse. And it has 3 levels that loop over and over. Your goal is essentially, you shoot the animals that all move around. The animals have different point values based on how difficult they are to hit, and at the end of each level, you have to hit point threshold by, like, the time limit. And yeah, I enjoyed what I played of it, but the difficulty curve was non-existent. It was it was like a, you know, it was like a decently difficult game, but it never got more difficult, and I kind of lost interest in it after a while. Like, I got to like level 20. And the game loops after 3 levels, and, you know, I don't need to go back to this one. So yeah, the next game is F-16 Fighting Falcon. I'm not gonna lie, I had to check my Twitch VOD to see what this game even was, because I forgot it. It's a flight sim, except the entire world is just blue. It doesn't control very well. Graphically, there's like nothing here. Sound design, there's nothing here. Yeah, this one's bad. There's not much to say about it. If you like hearing the Master System try and sound like the engine of a plane, you might find joy in it, but there's nothing here. Anyways, on to the next game. And that is Transbot. It's a shoot 'em up. Cool. I don't think I understand this one. Like, I
I played the first level for like a while and it just refused to like I didn't run into any boss or like a level 2 or like anything like that. Level 1 just kept going. There was a section in the level where it genuinely felt like they just forgot to add enemies. Like, there were no enemies. There were none for like a while. And I was just like, okay. And even when there were enemies, there were a lot of the times where like their pattern was just like them slowly moving across the top and bottom of the screen. So I just sat in the middle of the screen for a while. Yeah. So I don't know if I just don't understand how to progress in this game, or really what's up. But, yeah, if it is a standard shoot 'em up where you just gotta get to the end, wow, that was boring. That was really boring. This game does have a gimmick though, where you can collect like a power-up, and then that starts like a roulette style thing, and then you have to push like the one button on the controller to stop the roulette, and whatever it lands on is the power-up you get. That's cool. I like that. But yeah, there was nothing here. It was so boring. It was so boring. Oh, and up next is World Grand Prix. This is a nice one. Kind of. Not really, but this is a rough batch of games, so you know, it feels nice to me after playing through all of this. But yeah, it's your standard racing game. It has a good sense of speed. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of about all it has going for it. It's kind of just fast. There's not much to it, really, but you know, like, there's enjoyment to be had here. That's possible. Yeah, you go fast. Yay. Okay, what's next?
Action Fighter. Yeah, this is an interesting one. It's a mix of, you know, there's like a racing shoot 'em up things where like you have to like race on the little track and like try not to drive off the road while also like shooting everything. Yeah, it's like one of those, but it also has like just normal shoot 'em up sections. It's interesting. What's also interesting is how the live system works. It is worth noting, I didn't beat the first mission. I didn't make it past that. But yeah, so you start the game with a time limit, and within that time limit you have an infinite amount of lives. But you know, when you die you get like pushed back to your previous continue, so you know, like each time you die you lose time. And when that time limit runs out, then you have one life. And yeah, you die in like one hit, so you get hit, it's over. But yeah, I found it an interesting way to do things. It has a lot of interesting concepts, but I'm not gonna lie, I felt like a lot of the time enemies just kind of like spawned on you. There was a lot of moments where it just felt too fast to react to, at least for me personally. I gotta say, I'm not great at shoot 'em ups. But yeah, it had interesting ideas, but it didn't feel quite well designed. Yeah. It's kind of a shame, but I don't think I'll be playing more of this one. So, yeah. But the next game is Black Belt. Yeah, this is a beat 'em up. I don't super care for the controls. It felt like a lot of the time it felt a little unresponsive to what I wanted to do. But yeah, I liked how fast-paced it was. I liked the enemy placement. I really actually like the bosses. Like, they're kind of a mess, but they're colorful and they're sure going for it, and I found that entertaining. So I enjoyed the bosses and whatnot. Yeah, I think I've got into like the 3rd or 4th level. I've got into like the sumo wrestler guy. I haven't beat him yet, if you want to know how far I am into this game. But yeah, yeah, I liked its art direction. I didn't care much for the controls. Another interesting thing to note about it is the game doesn't seem like it was translated. Like, every time you beat a boss, there's like, I think kanji that pops up on screen. And
yeah, it's not translated, and that's interesting to I wish I understood what the game was saying, but okay. Yeah, strange. But the next game is Alex Kidd in Miracle World. This felt refreshing. You know, this is what I want the Master System to have more of. I feel like most people who clicked on a Master System video probably know Alex Kidd, but it's a little action platformer, and it's a nice time. You know, it's a well done action platformer, and yeah, I haven't beaten it, but I got pretty far in it. I freed the brother in the game, so that's I think like almost halfway through. Yeah, but that, I gotta acknowledge the game's main downside. It doesn't have continues. And at least in like my runs of the game, getting about halfway through, I was getting like 5 lives. And also everything's instant kill in this game. Like, it's not too difficult of a game, but you know, it's hard for me to really sink my time into a game that makes you restart from the start for such little things, you know? But it's a big step in the right direction. Yeah, I've been wanting a game I can sink my time into, and I think this could have been it if it was just a little less punishing on the player. Just a little bit less. It is also worth noting, I googled I googled looking for like little passwords, little like button combinations for this game, and I found the game technically has a continue system, but you need to have a certain amount of in-game money, and you also need to hold down like 2 buttons and then button mash a third or some shit. I haven't tried that yet, but yeah, it's a big step in the right direction. I'm waiting for a Master System game that actually supports continues and passwords, and like, yeah, I like arcade games, but I want something that isn't a arcade game at the core. You know? But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I'll probably give it some more tries and see if I can beat it. Yeah, but I enjoyed this one. This one's good. This one's right up there with Fantasy Zone for me. Yeah. So, yeah, the next game is The Ninja. Yeah, this is, I didn't like this one. Yeah. That's my review. It felt slow. Like, I felt too slow for the bullet speed. I didn't feel like I could, like, shoot in the directions I wanted because, your, like, movement is also tied to, like, your shooting direction, and with how slow you move and whatnot, it just felt like I wasn't able to shoot where I wanted to. Like, when I wanted to, if that makes sense. It didn't feel good to play. Yeah. I didn't like this one. So, the next game, Rambo, or Rambo First Blood Part 2. I don't know which title is correct. I hear a lot of people refer to this game as First Blood Part 2, but to my understanding, First Blood Part 1 doesn't exist, and the title screen at the start of the game only refers to the game as just Rambo. So, I don't even know the name of this game, but yeah, this one reminded me a lot of The Ninja, except it was slightly better, but you still move incredibly slow, painfully slow. And you know, every once in a while the enemies just shoot like a really fast bullet at you, and like you see it, and you start to react, and you start walking away, and then you keep walking away, and then you keep walking away, but you're still just so slow that you end up getting hit anyways, and it's my morale is at a low for the Master System right now. This is a rough batch of games. Yeah. Maybe the next one will be better. And that next one is Great Ice Hockey. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. This is an ice hockey game.
but I wasn't able to play it properly because this game uses a trackball. It uses a controller with a trackball instead of a D-pad. You know, like a trackball, like in those old computer mice. Wild concept. Yeah, I'm not gonna buy a new controller so I can play ice hockey on the Master System. It's kind of a wild decision, if you ask me personally, for them to already be designing games for like one-off peripherals like this. Yeah, I think it should have at the very least offered a mode that allows you to play with a standard controller, but I guess that's asking for too much. I just can't understand ice hockey, you know? So yeah, the next game is marksman shooting and trap shooting. Yeah, it's another light gun game. I didn't like this one. A lot of the sound design and graphic design is just reused from Safari Hunt, which comes across as really lazy if you ask me. And then the actual like original like levels or scenes or whatever you want to call them. There's you have the one where they throw a disc and you shoot it, except the discs move really slowly, so there's no challenge. And then you have one that's like a shooting range where you gotta like shoot the bodies as like they turn towards you. And like yeah, that wasn't very difficult either. Yeah, I didn't care for this one. Just play Safari Hunt if you want a light gun game on the Master System. On to the next game, and that is Pro Wrestling. I don't think I've ever played a wrestling game on like a 8-bit system that I've liked, I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's hard for me to like criticize this one in particular, just cause like I just don't like this entire like sport of game. You know, like it just doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. You know, I don't know, I don't really have much to say about it. You walk up to the little guy, you push the punch button, then he pushes the punch button, and then you push the punch button, and then sometimes you run around in a little circle. And, yeah. Gaming. What's the next one? Super Tennis! You know, what is up with all these, like, slow Master System games? Like, this one even, like, in the options, it allows you to set, like, the speed that the game moves at, and I maxed that speed thing out, and it still is incredibly slow. Like, you can, like, miss your swing of the ball, and then just walk backwards, and then swing again, and miss, and then walk backwards, and then hit the ball. And it's like, what? Why is the ball so slow? It's also interesting because, like, it starts your serve automatically, and, like, yeah, that's weird to me, you know? Like, it's tennis. It's a pretty simple game, so, like, taking away, like, the player's control for parts of it just feels... You don't have much to work with. It's tennis. Why are you deciding to work with even less? It's kind of baffling. Yeah, like it's playable, but I wouldn't recommend it. No, it doesn't. No. What's up next? And yeah, that wraps up day 2 of me checking out the Master System. All in all, Alex Kidd is cool. I enjoyed Alex Kidd. But yeah, the rest of these games, there were a lot of misses. And like, that's kind of really concerning to me. You know, like day one had like 1 miss. And like, you know, all in all, day 1 was a very good launch. Day 2, yeah, this has been this has been rough. Alex Kidd was cool.
Black Belt was interesting. I think that's it. Like, yeah, I'm kind of really concerned for what's gonna happen on day 3. I'm kind of really concerned. Like, the quality in games has dropped so much so quickly, and I'm scared. But yeah, what else I gotta say? Oh yeah, I played more Choplifter on day 2 because I ran out of things to play like really early. So yeah, I played more Choplifter. I got to the 2nd level, and also in Choplifter, apparently you can like when like you turn your helicopter, that's what it's called. When you turn your helicopter around, you can like turn it halfway to where you face the screen, and you can shoot at the screen to shoot even more enemies, and that's cool. I didn't know that before, but yeah, that's cool. I just wanted to acknowledge that. But yeah, let's see what day 3 has to offer me, or history. I don't know what section's coming up next in the video, but I'll be there.
Alright, and with that, let's get into day 3 of me playing through all the Master System games. Yeah, today I went through the first half of 1987, and yeah, starting us off will be a shooting gallery. Yeah, I actually really enjoyed this game. I think it's really neat. It's another light gun game, but I like its difficulty. It has a good amount of levels. I think it has like 10 or so, which is nice, you know, like before this, the best shooting game in my personal opinion was Safari Hunt, which has 3 levels, so going up to 10, it's really nice, it's really cool. Also, I just like this game's graphics style. It has a lot of just nice stuff about it. Like when you get a perfect round, like it makes a little noise and has a little voice line, it's just very, very satisfying, and like all around it's very good, and like yeah, it's a good one. It's a really good one. I think it's the best light gun game on the system so far, and I'd recommend it. Yeah, it's cool. It's nice. It's very nice. It's very, very cool. Yeah. And with that, the next game is Great Baseball. Yeah, this one's alright. I'm not super big on baseball games in general, really. Like, they're definitely not the worst sport to make into a video game, I don't think. I think they tend to play pretty well. But yeah, this one, I wish I had a bit more control over the game and whatnot. Like, you can't really, like, you can't make your team, like, run faster or anything like that by, like, button mashing or anything like that. It's kind of just, you know, you hit the ball, and then from there, you know, that's kind of it. You know, like, you can hit the ball, you can throw the ball, and you can choose which base to throw the ball to, and that's kind of it. It's a pretty simple one, but I think it looks nice. Yeah, all around, it's a nice one. A lot of these baseball games don't have music, really, which I always find weird, but I think that's kind of just the norm with them. But yeah, it's a nice one. It's a nice little baseball game. If you like baseball, sure, go ahead, you know? And the next one is Space Harrier. Yeah, this is a popular one. This Space Harrier, for people who don't know, it was a very, very, very popular arcade game. And yeah, this is I think the first time it was ported to a console. Yeah, this is a very popular one, but I always find it hard to go to these arcade ports of these, like, because Space Harrier is like a really impressive game. It's a really cool game for the time. Like, it's a cool one. Like, honestly, it's one of my favorite arcade games, and the Master System, it's not as strong as the arcade system is. It's just not, you know? Like, don't get me wrong, this version of the game, it's playable, it's cool, I can get used to it, but the main thing is just telling us scaling, like how far away things are. Like, the arcade game does this, the scaling, it's smooth. Like, it's a perfectly smooth transition from really far away to really up close. Where the Master System version, each enemy has, like, well, like 4 or 5, like, states that it moves between as it gets closer to you, and, like, it's just not as smooth, and it makes it harder to keep track of, like, where things are moving, and personally, I find this version of the game to be a lot harder because of that. Like, yeah. It's doable. You might hear my cat in the background. I'm sorry about that. But, yeah, this game's fun. You can't ruin Space Harrier, but it's hard for me to be like, oh, this is amazing, because, you know, retrospectively looking at it, it's just like, play the arcade game, you know? But
it's nice to have this game on the Master System, that's for sure. But yeah, and the next game is Cortlet. Yeah, this is an interesting one. It's a mix of a shoot 'em up and a run and gun. Essentially, it's a run and gun, except you can get this jetpack item, and then you can fly around, and it's like really cool and nice, and it plays like a shoot 'em up, and it's just a really nice idea. Like, a lot of these Master System games have these really cool ideas to like make shoot 'em ups into like different game genres, like to mix it up with stuff, and I think it's really cool. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how this game's health system works or damage system works just yet. I want to play more of it, yeah, and also I feel like I need to acknowledge, I know when I was recording the footage of this game, I played really badly. Yeah, I'm sorry. But, yeah. I want to play more of this game. It's cool, it's cool. It also, like, every level ends with, like, a boss, and you gotta find, like, the exit of, like, the area, and, like, it's cool, it's very cool. I'd recommend it, yeah, absolutely. But, yeah, the next game is Ghostbusters! Yeah, this is Ghostbusters. I don't think I fully understand how this game works just yet. From my understanding of it, you start the game and you have a budget to buy items and stuff, and these items will help you collect ghosts and whatnot. So yeah, then the game actually starts, and your goal is to go around like a Pac-Man-esque maze and stop all of the ghosts from getting like into buildings and causing damage. And then once you've stopped all of the ghosts, you then go on like a street race to then collect all of the ghosts once they've stopped. And yeah, then you repeat that a lot. I think that's how the game works. I need to play more of this one, I really do. You know, but yeah, I'm interested in this one. And also, this is the first Master System game we've played that I think supports continues, and like, that's huge, that's massive. I wanted to acknowledge that. Yeah, I want to play a bit more of this one. I think it's an interesting concept. It's nice to have Master System games that take more than like 10 seconds to play. You know, it's very, very nice. It feels good, but yeah, I need to play more of this one, I'm gonna be honest. And that is because our next game is Wonder Boy. I played a lot of Wonder Boy. I did. I beat the game. I think. I think there's a true ending. I beat World 9, and I got an ending. I think there's a World 10 if you, like, collect all of the collectibles or something like that. I don't fully know. But yeah, I played this game for like 5 hours, and that's because this game has unlimited continues, and this game is what I want the Master System to have. This is the first game on the Master System where I'm like, I can, like, actually sink my teeth into it for a bit. Like, this is what I want. It's a standard action platformer, essentially. Very physics-based, very floaty. But yeah, you know, I just have a soft spot for these kind of games, you know? There's something charming about this, you know? Like, I just like it, you know? Also, like, the bosses, there's something about these early 2D action platformer games where all of the bosses are just delightfully jank. You know, like, every boss in this game is exactly the same, except for the World 8 boss, which has a different attack, and then you have the World 9 boss that goes back to being exactly the same, and that's just really funny to me. Also, this game will troll the player, like, constantly, and it's fine, because, the continue system, it's really nice in this game, it really is. You're allowed to continue from just any level. It's not like you're being sent back to the start of a world, no, any level. When you continue, you go back to your current level. And also each level has 3 checkpoints if you're not counting the starting position as a checkpoint. Yeah, it's 3 checkpoints in each level, and like, the game is very nice to the player in that regard, and I had a really good time with it. I did. I'd recommend it. Yeah, this is what I've been wanting the Master System to have. Yeah, and I spent a lot of time with this one. So if you'll notice that I did not spend as much time with the other games as I usually do for this batch, that's because I put all my time in Wonder Boy. The game's good, what can I say? But yeah, our next game is Great Football. I'm gonna be honest, I don't care for football as a sport. I really don't know how it works, and I honestly don't care enough to learn how it works.
Yeah, from what I could tell, this game, it was alright. It's an okay football game. I couldn't figure out how to select which, play I was going for. I couldn't really figure out how to select that, weirdly. It probably says in the manual, but yeah, I played this game, I played it while recording it, and I played it for first impressions, and I still haven't figured it out, which is a little concerning. I feel like that should be a bit more self-explanatory, but yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I just don't care for football as a whole, but I think if you like football, this game's, it's alright for the time. Yeah, it's alright. And our next game is Rocky. Yeah, it's a wrestling game based on Rocky, the movies and whatnot. I haven't seen the movies, I don't know how to comment on all of that, but yeah, to me, this is just a standard wrestling game. The graphics are really smooth in this one. Like, it's very smooth animations. It's very, very smooth animations, but I think I've said it before in this video. Wrestling games just don't really work for me. I feel like you just kind of run up to the person, and then you push the punch button, and then the other person does, and repeat. I don't know, I don't really get them too much. I will say, though, this one, to my understanding, it didn't have that many, like, punches or moves or stuff like that. In terms of moves, it's definitely lacking, but the game looks really nice for the time. I'll say that. But yeah, I've played through every NES game, and I don't think I've cared for a single wrestling game, if I'm being honest. And this one, it's really not an exception. It looks very nice for the time, but yeah, that's about it. And yeah, that's it. So, outro me, take it away. So yeah, that was day 3 of me checking out all the Master System games, and honestly, it went really well. Like when I did day 2, it felt so bad. Was it day 2 or was it day 3? I might have my days wrong, honestly, but the previous day, it felt so bad. Like, the games went down in quality, like, a lot, and it was just really rough. And yeah, it feels like the quality in the games has come back, which is nice. It's what it needed. And stuff like Wonder Boy, like, that's really the first game where it's like, ooh, this one's like good, you got something, Yeah, I felt like I should comment on it. I forgot to comment on it in the review, but if you recognize Wonder Boy, that's maybe because on the NES, it essentially got a direct port, which is known as Adventure Island. Yeah, I got a full like rebrand, but the levels and whatnot and how it controls, that's like all the same on the NES in Adventure Island. So yeah, if you recognize Wonder Boy, that's why. And I do think it's a bit of a shame how Wonder Boy really is like one of the best Master System games that's been released in like this part, and it's not original. It's a shame, but yeah, things are looking up with the Master System. I think so. Not in terms of sales, honestly. Yeah, at this point, yeah, the Master System, it's not selling at its projected numbers at all, really. Things are kind of looking dire. But in terms of the games being released, yeah, it's looking good. It's looking good. Yeah, I'm happy with this batch of games. Like the only misses really were what, like I mean, you have like the sport games, but like that's not because those games are like necessarily bad, just because I don't care for the sport, But yeah, I was really happy with this batch of games. So yeah, let's see what I thought of the next day. Deps, take it away. So, before we get into day 4 of looking at the Master System games, let's give some context and whatnot for just things that are happening behind the scenes. So yeah, Sega, unhappy with how much the Master System is selling, ended up selling the distribution rights of the Master System to Tonka, the toy company. They did this in August of 1987? Yeah, the 17th of August 1987. This is a 2-year contract, which means that Tonka is responsible for marketing and selling the Master System. Now, Sega of America, they're still giving support and whatnot to customers, and they're still, working on localizing games and stuff like that, but in terms of just straight up selling the consoles, that's now on Tonka. This is viewed as Tonka being a company that already
had connections with US stores and whatnot, be able to sell the Master System in more stores. But yeah, I've seen a lot of sources on this topic, and most of them cite this as a bad decision, very bad decision, but I'm gonna be honest, I can't really tell you why it's a bad decision. Everything just says, oh, it's bad, and I'm like, okay. But yeah. In terms of how this affects the games and whatnot, Tonka at the time owned Parker Brothers, and they were making some games and whatnot at the time. So this partnership allowed more exclusive Parker Brother games to go on the Master System. So yeah, you'll notice a bit more of those, and yeah, that's really all it changed in terms of actual games, from my understanding. Yeah. Just a little context, a little bit of context. Alright, let's get into the games, yeah. Starting us off on day 4 is going to be Enduro Racer. This game is, it's alright. It's a standard, little racing game and whatnot. Interesting angle, camera angle, yeah, I find it funny how, okay, so the game has a ton of, like, ramps and whatnot that you can jump up. I find it really funny how jumping on the ramps slows you down, so there's like a very heavy incentive if you want to win to avoid the ramps, avoid doing the cool stuff. It's kind of funny to me, you know, but all in all, it's an alright game. I probably won't be playing it again, but yeah, I really don't have much to say about it. It's alright little racing game, nothing much about it, you know? But yeah, let's get into the next game. Gangster Town. What a dumb name. This is a Lycan game. It's a Lycan game, and it's honestly kind of cool. There's like a loose plot to it and whatnot, which is actually really nice to see, because most of these Lycan games so far, they've been just like a standard, like each level's like one screen, and you just kind of shoot the moving sprites, and that's about it. There's not much, flow to it and whatnot. Yeah, there's not much flow, where this one has that flow. It has, like, that loose plot and whatnot. You go from place to place to place, and they all connect, and, like, it's honestly really fun. I really like this one, I did. There's also, like, lots of little charm and whatnot, where, like, when you shoot the guys, you can shoot them in the hat, and then their hat will go flying off and little stuff like that. There's just a lot of little things to it, and, each level has different goal conditions, and depending on how many goal conditions you get, you start the next level with more health. And it's just a nice mechanic. It's just a well-done game. Yeah, I wonder how long it is. I'm not gonna lie, I've only made it to like level 4. Like, it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. I tend to die pretty early, I'm not gonna lie. I tend to die pretty early. I haven't seen a ton of the game, but from what I've played, I actually really like this one. I do. But yeah, let's get into the next game. Great Volleyball. I suck at this one. I do. It's volleyball, and I find it interesting how each team has 6 people. It's a lot of people to control and whatnot, and it's cool. Like, don't get me wrong, this is it controls well, it's a nice little game, but I just suck at it, you know? Like, the amount of times I get my little guy to line up with the shadow of the ball, and then I just miss. Or, like, amount of times I'll think the ball is going out, because the shadow's, like, out of the court, and then it curves in at the last second, and then I lose a point because of that. Like, I had fun with this one, but I kind of suck at it. You know, yeah, it controls fine and whatnot. It's volleyball. It's volleyball. But, yeah, I might need to put more time in this one and try and get better at it. Any better. Oh, I see what our next game is. Have fun listening to that. Missile Defense 3D. So, yeah, this is a Sega Master System 3D game. I don't know how I'm gonna show you all this, because what it does is, to do the 3D effect, this game is designed with, some sort of glasses in mind. Essentially what these glasses do is, every frame, it's going to cover up one of your eyes, and then, it goes back and forth. It only covers up one eye at a time. You know, cover up your left eye on one frame, next frame cover up the right, and so forth. Yeah, I don't have these glasses. I can't speak to how good this effect works. But what I can say, and what y'all might be seeing right now, is without the glasses. This game is hard on the eyes. It's very... Yeah, it sure flashes back and forth a lot, huh? You know, yeah, I might try displaying the game at like 30 frames per second, get rid of every other frame to make it look better. I might do something like that. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but yeah. So, about the game itself, it's a light gun game, and, yeah, there's honestly not much to this one. It has an interesting idea, so, each level has 3 different phases. The first phase is you're going to be shooting rockets as they launch out of, like, the launcher thing. The second phase is, if you miss any rockets in the first phase, you can shoot them in the second, when they're, like, flying through the sky. And then if there's still a rocket you missed, you can shoot it as it's coming down on, like, a building and whatnot. So, yeah, it's an interesting little concept, but there's only 2 levels, and they just loop back and forth. And, I mean, it's alright, you know, it's like a fine light gun game. If this came out, like, at the start of the Master System, I think I would be really impressed. But, yeah, when stuff like Gangster Town exists, you know, the bar's moving up, and it's moving quickly. And this one, it might be under the bar. There's just not a ton here, you know? But, yeah, let's go into the next game. Kung Fu Kid. Okay. I guess that's my review. Yeah, you know, you would think I would somewhat script what I'm gonna say about the games, but I don't. And, yeah, this one, it's okay. You kind of just walk to the right and kick things as they pop up. There's not much variety to the levels from what I can tell. But also, I'm not very good at this game, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not. I haven't beaten the second level. You know, like, yeah, I don't know, there's just not much to it. There's not much to say. Like, what you see is what you get, you know? Yeah, there's just not much here. Let's go into the next game, okay? Okay, let's do this. Outrun! Look, it's a game people might actually know. That's so incredible. Yeah, Outrun, on the Master System. It's alright, honestly. When I look at the Outrun arcade game, I feel like it's known for its just aesthetic. You know, the cool set pieces, the music, all of that. This one, it doesn't have that, really. Like, it has music, it's not like Hang On, where there's just no music during the game. Like, this one has music, it has some set pieces here and there, but for the most part, it's kind of just a barren land. The game's still alright, though, you know, it's an alright racing game. Yeah, control-wise, there's some things about it where I'm like, oh, I wish I was playing a Hang On, you know, like, Hang On's the better, like, control game and whatnot, where Outrun has music, you know? Like, this one, it's alright. I guess I should explain Outrun for people who don't know it. So, it's your standard little racing game from this time and whatnot, except you can choose different paths and whatnot. There's, like, 5 different endings you can get depending on which, like, roads you take to get there. Yeah, it's an interesting concept and whatnot. It's cool, it's cool. It's really nice to replay, but, yeah. I don't know. There's... What do I say about this, you know? Honestly, control-wise, I don't know. It is also worth noting that this game actually is able to support, like, the hills and whatnot. Like, it's not just, like, a completely flat land. This game does have hills. I kinda wish it didn't, though, because every time a hill comes up, they will throw a turn directly after, and you will not see the turn until you fly off the board. Now, this does add an element of having to memorize the races, which is kind of fun, the racetracks. Yeah, but, I honestly kind of wish they weren't here, you know? I kind of wish we got rid of those hills, you know? Yeah. In terms of, like, it doesn't feel nearly as tight as Hang On in terms of the, just speed balancing, you know? Like, in this one, on like, a lot of the turns, you can just kind of max out your speed and just, you'll be fine. Yeah, you'll be fine, just, you know, max it out, it'll be alright. You know, yeah. It's a alright racing game. Yeah, it's one of these where it's like, oh, you look at the arcade game and it's like, it's hard to recommend these Master System ports of these, like, big, fancy arcade games, you know? Like, don't get me wrong, it's really cool that they have a home port, but in retrospect, if you can play the arcade version, just do that, you know? Like, yeah, it's a fine racing game, but it's there's not much reason to go back to it. But yeah, let's go to the next game. Great Soccer! This one's actually kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie, soccer's like the one sport where I actually know what's going on and like what the rules are, you know? So like it's cool, you know? This is one of those games where I'm like, wow, I might actually see the appeal of sports games because I know the rules, you know? But I enjoyed this one. I did. It's just good. It's very good. Also, just something about the pacing. Like, don't get me wrong, it's still a faster paced game. Like each half I think is like 4 or 5 minutes, something like that. But what this does is it makes it to where like the scores actually seem like more realistic to an actual soccer game, you know? Like your average soccer game, you're really getting like at most like 3 points per team at absolute most. And this one feels like it can like actually reflect that. Like so many soccer games, you score like every 2 seconds, and it's like don't get me wrong, it's fun, but you know, I like that extra, like, challenge feeling of how hard it is to get a point, you know? And this one feels like it has that, and yeah, it's a good soccer game. It's a very good soccer game. But you know what? You know what's the thing? I originally got the wrong copy of the game. I got the European version. Fun fact, the European version's a different game, so let's talk about the other great soccer game! Yeah, okay, so Great Soccer, except the European version. It's not as good. This is a game that was released on card, which means it's essentially a budget game. It's cheaper. There's very little memory space for them to work on when making this game. It's honestly still alright. I wish you could, like, you know, pick your team and stuff like that. Like, this one, it's definitely a card game. Like, it loses a lot of, like, the charm, the little details, you know? Like, this is very bare bones. This is soccer. And it's good soccer, but, you know, it doesn't have that, it doesn't have those extra little things, you know? Like, yeah. But all around, both are good soccer games. Both are good soccer games. Yeah. Let's move on to the next one. Yeah. Great Golf. It's golf. Yippee. Yeah, it's golf. It's a nice, chill little game. There's not much background music to it. The way you control the game, it's very chill. Like, a lot of these golf games from around this time have a pretty tight timed inputs when you try and swing and hit the ball. This one, it is a timed input, but it's a lot more forgiving, and if you mess up, it's really no big deal. In this one, yeah, it's a very chill golf game, and I don't know, I feel like there's something charming about a nice, chill, little, old-school golf game, you know? Like, yeah, if I had to complain about it, though, I wish, the render times for the board, they're so slow. They're so slow. Like, you have to, like, wait for, like, the camera to render, and that's, like, crazy to me, you know? It's a little crazy. But yeah, all in all, I enjoyed this one. You know, it's not gonna be like on the top of any Master System list or anything, but you know, there's something nice about just a chill little game of golf, you know? And this one, yeah, it does that. It's good. It's good. Yeah, let's talk about the next one. Zillion, or Zillion, I don't know which one it is. This is a strange game. So this is a anime licensed game for an anime that wasn't released in America at the time. Like, it got like from what I could tell, this series, it got like a small VHS release in the early 90s of like 5 episodes, and then it was only like officially somewhat released on like streaming services in like 2018. So like, just weird game to bring over to America. But, weird game in general, too. So, you start up the game, you look at it, you can probably see the footage right now. And, I thought it was gonna be, like, maybe a early Metroidvania sort of thing, because Metroid on the NES, it came out, like, a couple months ago. So I was like, okay, here's, like, the Master System's attempt at that. And, no, not really. So, the grand majority of this game is spent in, individual rooms and each room has 4 different numbers in it. And you gotta find the numbers, and then you gotta input them from lowest to highest into the computer. And you have to do this, like, hundreds of times. Like, I'll put out the map of the whole game on screen now, and each of those rooms is one of those puzzles, where you have to find the 4 numbers and put them in from lowest to highest. And, it's bizarre concept for a game, you know? Like, yeah, it's just a weird one. It's also worth noting that this game has limited continues. Not actually, I guess I should say it. Every single game in this batch on day 4 has limited continues or no continues. Talking about Metroid and Legend of Zelda, those both came out on the NES a couple months ago, and like it's kind of wild looking at those games and being like, wow, this is like a whole huge adventure. And then I look at this list of Master System games and I'm like, they're fine, but can we please? I'm like begging for a game that supports like unlimited continues or saves or anything. I'm begging here. I wanna go on an adventure. I wanna be Link in Legend of Zelda. I wanna go on an adventure. I don't wanna put in fucking 4 numbers in a row in 100 rooms. I don't wanna do it. I don't wanna do it, you know? Like, this game, it's an interesting one to look into, but yeah, I can't really recommend, like, playing it. I don't want to do a number puzzle. I just don't. Great basketball. It's basketball. I'm gonna be honest. I have like nothing to say about this game really. It's basketball. I feel like I get fouled every 2 seconds. Sometimes I just stand there and I don't push any buttons and then I get fouled. And I might not understand basketball as a sport, I'm gonna be honest. Like, this one, it controls fine. It's basketball. Wow. And the final game in this batch of games is going to be Fantasy Zone 2, The Tears of Opa Opa. Yeah, this is you know, I enjoy Fantasy Zone. I do. So, you know, the sequel, it's also good. Some people would debatably say it's better than the first. I don't think so, but it has some cool ideas for it. One of the first things you'll notice is, you know, we're not going into the negatives. We're going... So each level, it's no longer just one screen that loops forever. Now each level has multiple screens that loop forever, and it helps just make the levels a bit more elaborate and whatnot. It's cool. Yeah, I enjoy it. And, yeah, the bosses. I also found the bosses in this game to be a lot easier than the first one, but I also found the levels themselves to be harder, so it balances itself out. It's nice. Yeah, also you need to button mash less in this version of the game compared to the first, which that's also very, very nice. But, yeah, your ship starts out so slow. It starts out so slow, like it's borderline unplayable how slow you go when you first spawn in. And like, you'll spawn in like this every time you die, and it kind of maybe ruins the game a little bit for me, because like I'll be on like a really good run, and then I'll die, and I'll be like, okay, I still have like 3 lives, we're good, and then I move insanely slow, and then I lose all my lives like instantly, and it's like, what the fuck, Opa? What the fuck, Opa? For context, Opa is the name of the ship in Fantasy Zone. Yeah. Like, I enjoy this game, I just wish I started out faster. Yeah, it's worth noting that, in order to go faster, you need to get some money, then you need to find the shop, which the shop is also now something you can find. It's no longer just something that appears when you have enough money, it is a fixed location in the level. So yeah, you need to find the shop, and spend money to upgrade your ship. Which, you know, it's like a fine mechanic, it's fine. I just wish I didn't lose all my lives as soon as I died once. I just wish I moved a little bit faster. You know, I want to say in the test footage, I died on the first level and then I instantly lost everything. I've made it to like, I think I've beaten the 3rd level. Yeah, I've made it to the 4th, I think. I made it to like the one that was like, it was like red, from what I remember. I made it to, I think, the 4th level. Yeah. Not in the footage I recorded, though. I'm sorry. But yeah, I enjoy this game. I do. It's right up there with the first one. It's kind of tied for me. Also, like, after playing this, I went back and played the first one a bit, and like, they really have improved the graphics on the Master System over time. They really have. Not saying the first game looks bad, but you know, the graphics have definitely gotten more elaborate over time. And like, it's cool. It's cool. This is like the first time I've really noticed that, you know, the Master System, it's improving over time. Slowly. Very slowly. But it is improving. It is. But yeah, this is a good game. It's a good game. I have some gripes with it, but it's a good one. I'd say it's the best one out of this batch of games. Yeah, and yeah, that's all the games on day 4. Okay? Okay. Depths from the future, take it away.
Alright, on to day 5, and with that means more history. So, first note, starting in early 1988, there was a major computer chip shortage. This is mostly known in the retro gaming sphere because Nintendo was forced to delay multiple major releases, like Super Mario Bros. 2, Zelda 2, stuff like that, you know? And while this did affect production on the Master System, I personally couldn't find any, like, major delays that happened because of this. So, yeah. And then the next thing to note is in Japan, on June 1988, Sega announced their next console, the Mark V, which would later be renamed to the Mega Drive, and then also renamed to the Genesis for America. So, yeah. Over in Japan, Sega's already making the next console. And with that, let's get into the games. Starting us off will be Penguin Land. What a nice little game. It's a puzzle platform game where you play as this little penguin who has to deliver an egg down to the bottom of a level. You're able to break ice blocks to the left and right of you, under you. And you can push the little egg down. You hope it doesn't fall too far or it'll crack. You also try not to run into enemies. It's nice, it's cute. Have you seen the animations? It's a well done game, you know? I like it, I really do. You know, it's just good game, good game. You know, this game is also noteworthy because it has a level creator. And in exciting news, this game has a battery backup in it, which means you can save the levels you create. It's insane. It's also worth noting that this is the first home console game to include the battery backup save feature. It released over in Japan 4 days before The Legend of Zelda released in America, which is neat. For some context, the original release of Legend of Zelda was a Famicom Disk System game, which, you know, wasn't on a cartridge. So, yeah, weird, you know. But yeah, it's also worth noting that this game, it allows you to pick the levels in any order, really. You start up the game, it says which level you want. Pick any of them, you know? Which is interesting. I kind of wish the game used the battery backup to keep track of which level you were on, but it works on a trust system. It works, it's cool. It's so much less punishing than a lot of the Master System games we've been seeing. It's... we need more stuff like this, you know? We really do, you know? But yeah, let's get on to the next game, because this one is good, but we have a lot of others. Fun fact. Others with the name of Afterburner. It's okay. At first glance, this game looks more like a flight sim. It's really not. It's just kind of your standard shooter, you know? Yeah, you just kind of spam shoot, and then when there's a missile coming at you, you turn to the side. You know, I don't know. There wasn't much to this game, I'm not gonna lie. It's okay. You know, what's the next game? Alien Syndrome. This is a run and gun. Your goal, it's pretty simple. Save all the hostages, escape, fight a boss. It's pretty simple. Also, this game seems to only have 2 types of enemies per level. Yeah, pretty basic graphics, simple level design. But, you know, it has good boss fights. I do like the boss fights, you know? So that's cool. That's neat. You know, any of these boss fights with, like, the black background, like big boss sprites, on the black background that moves around, just, you know, that's where my heart is, you know, I do like it. So, yeah, that's Alien Syndrome. Time for the next game, known as Aztec Adventure.
Honestly, I need to play more of this game. It's a top-down action game. Think the same sort of style as Legend of Zelda, except this game's purely linear, featuring 10 levels. I've personally only made it to like level 2, and that's because this game does not support limited continues. It's a hard little game. You move so slow, your attack range is so short, it's evil. I enjoy it. I do wish it had unlimited continues though, but let's be honest here, that's something I say about literally every single game on the Master System's lineup, you know, like, I just want to, some of these games are good and I want to get farther in the... I guess I just need to get good. I guess I do, you know? But yeah, I need to play more of this one. It plays well, I like it, you know? Yeah, let's see what's up next. Global Defense. It has a neat idea. It's a shoot 'em up where you move back and forth between aiming your shots and then moving yourself. You can only move yourself when you're not aiming your shots, and you can only aim your shots when you're not moving yourself. It's an interesting concept. It causes the games to be a little bit slow, but it's fine. It's something different, you know? And also, the damage system's weird. So, if any enemy gets past you, the Earth will take damage. If the Earth dies, you lose. If you get hit by an enemy, you also lose. And then, on top of all this, the game swaps between two different gameplay styles. Your more classic shoot-'em-up style that I've been describing, and then there's also a Defend the Earth style, where it's just, you don't need to worry about moving, or getting hit yourself. Your goal is just, there are missiles coming down on the Earth, please shoot them before it hits. You know, please don't let the Earth die. You know, please don't let that happen. But yeah, it's a neat game, good concept, little slow-paced, but you know, it's something different. Also, flashing light warning for the next game. That's right, it's another 3D game, you know? Yeah, so please look away if you respect yourself. I'll try and keep it short, okay? Zaxxon 3D, another shoot 'em up, except it's in 3D. It seems like a pretty alright game. It uses the 3D effect pretty well. This game, I think I might have recorded it like this. It has a 2D mode. If you, on the start screen, if you push the, like, start button on the console, you can access a 2D mode. I think that might be how I recorded the footage. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna lie, don't remember. But yeah, trying to play in that 2D mode, I can't hit, like, anything. I, like, do not know where anything is in space. It's kind of really funny, you know? Like, going from the 3D to the 2D, like, oh my goodness. Then, you can't play this game in 2D. Which is a sign it uses the 3D really well, you know? Because it worked well in 3D, you know? But, yeah, it's a neat game. It just, you know, these 3D games are so rough on the eyes. Okay, we need to move on to the next game. Rescue Mission, our first Lycan game of the day. Your little guy will ride the rails and save the people, and then your job is to kill everyone who wants to kill you. You know, kill your team. Don't let them do that. It's alright, it works, you know? Yeah. It's like fine, you know? I do find it funny just how many Lycan games there are on the Master System, and it's also interesting how they're trying to make them all unique. Like, they do it well, but also it's funny. Like, this is our 7th Lycan game, and like there's just a lot of them. But yeah, that's fine. It's neat. You know, nothing against it. Yeah. Also, flashing light warning for the next game. That it's another 3D game, and I don't think I could disable the 3D effect in this one. So, for real this time. All right, let's see what it is. Maze Hunter 3D, another top-down action game, except this time the levels have different, like, depths to them, showing you, like, the 3D effect and whatnot. You can also, like, jump straight up in the air, and it has a really good 3D effect. Honestly, it seems like a nice little game. You know, honestly, it's a shame that these 3D games don't super look that good without the 3D glasses. You know, it's a shame. Because, like, these games, they look nice. It's just, you know, they kind of give you problems. Alright, what's our next game? I do like this one, though. I do. But we need to go to the next game. Parlor games. Good game. It's 3 different parlor games, all with good music, good vibes, good controls. You have darts, you got pool, you got bingo. What else do you need? I think I played darts for an hour straight, just trying to beat the CPU. You know, I had fun with it. would recommend, would recommend, and I'd do it again, you know? But yeah, just good vibes, you know? What's next? Alex Kidd and the Lost Stars. This one's a weird game, you know? It released originally a month after the original game, but it was arcade exclusive for a year or two, until it released on the Master System now. So, yeah. It doesn't share a lot of similarities with the original Alex Kidd game, weirdly enough. Weirdly, it plays more like a Wonder Boy style game, you know, where you don't really have a health bar, you have a time limit, and each time you get hit, that time limit goes down more. It's strange. Also, this game supports unlimited continues. We need more shit like this, you know? I find it really funny, though, that this is the game they decided needs unlimited continues. Because, this game's kind of easy. Also, the game's only 6 levels and they're really short. I beat this game in, like, not long, like, I don't know, 20 minutes. You know, like, it does have 2 loops, and that helps. The second loop does have, you know, different enemy placement. The levels are slightly harder, but yeah, it's still like it took me 25 minutes to beat the entire thing. You know? So, like, I find it odd that it has unlimited continues, but, you know, it's welcome. Like, this game, it's weird. There's a lot of jank to it. Like, the momentum doesn't feel super great. There's some, like, moving platforms and stuff that don't quite work properly. It's got a lot of weird little bits in it. But, you know, the unlimited continues. It means you're never really punished for anything, and it creates what would be a janky / like, bad platformer into a nice chill one. You know, nice time. I'd recommend it, yeah, you know? But, yeah, I like you know, it's a charming little game, just strange. It's very different from the other Alex Kidd game. Very, very different. Like, the other Alex Kidd game is so hard and has, like, a million levels, and it's, like, a full big thing. And this one's just like, no, we have 6 levels, it's a nice chill time, you know? And remember, find the miracle ball. Fantasy Zone, The Maze. So, they made Fantasy Zone Pac-Man, like. It's fun, honestly. It didn't keep my attention for super long, but, you know, it's hard to fuck up Pac-Man. It's a nice game. You know, you go around, you collect the coins. Also, during the game, if you leave the enemy spawner area alone for too long, then the enemies get more powerful and whatnot. It's a nice little mechanic. There's also items you can buy and stuff. You know, it's Pac-Man. It's cool. It's nice. It has its own little ideas and it builds upon it. Also, what's nice is, you can pick any of the levels to play at any point, you know? It's a nice chill time. You know, you boot up the game, you pick one of, like, 8 levels. It keeps it fresh. It's nice. It's cool. You know, how many times have I said that this game review? But, I don't know. I like this one. I do. Also, flashing light warning for the next game. It's a 3D game. So, y'all know how this goes by now, right? Alright. And the next 3D game released is... Space Harrier 3D. So, y'all have already heard me review the original Space Harrier port that's on the Master System. And all my complaints in that game remain here, except honestly worse. The 3D effect, it makes the frame rate worse. I feel like it's harder to tell things scaling. It's so hard to play this game. It feels like shit. It's not good, you know? But it is worth noting that this version of the game does have all new levels and bosses and whatnot. It's cool, it's nice. They really didn't have to go through that effort. They could have just been like, hey, it's Space Harrier but 3D. But no, they said new shit. And I respect that. It's a nice... good for them. If only this game felt playable. You know? Yeah. Alright, what's next? And our final game of today is going to be Zillion 2, the Triformation. While this game is less unique than the first game, I do find it to be the better game, mainly because it focuses more on the action and less on Zillion 1's style of, let's see if you know how to count to 10 every 5 seconds. You know, what was Zillion 1? Like, what a concept for a game. Like, I respect it, but it did not work for me. But anyways, back to Zillion 2. You know, they also added in motorbike shooting segments and whatnot. That's where the Triformation comes from. You know, I suck at these segments. I haven't made it very far in this game. This is a limited continue game. Yeah, I haven't made it very far, but you know, it has some variety. It's nice. You also still have all of your normal just action sequences with the shooting and whatnot. And you know, they play well, they're nice. It also appears that this has almost boss-esque areas and whatnot. It has like enemy rush sequences, which is nice, it's cool. Like, it's better. It's better. You know, it's a lot better, but yeah, I don't know. I know I keep saying it, but I really feel like the Master System's line of games would be viewed in so much higher regard if the games didn't all have limited continues. If we could just get past the first 2 levels of like 90% of these games, I'd have a higher opinion of the Master System, I'm not gonna lie, but you know, yeah. And that's all for today. So recapping my thoughts on the Master System after day 5, you know? It feels like the Master System might finally be figuring out how to make video games, like, decently consistently. Maybe. While most of the games in this batch are overall pretty small in scale, there aren't really any games I would call just straight up bad. Well, maybe Space Harrier 3D, but that's because I don't have the 3D glasses, let's be honest here, that really hurts that game, you know? But yeah, still holding out hope for the Master System getting some standout games, despite Sega already working on the next console. But yeah, you know, also, this was the first day that I made a loose script for. Sorry for rambling near the end of this script, you know, trying to raise the quality of these sections, but yeah, let's see what's in day 6. So, Future Depths, take it away. Alright, and on to day 6 of the Sega Master System project. There isn't really any noteworthy history for this batch of games, so let's just get right into it. Starting us off will be Wonder Boy and Monsterland. Good game. This is one of the games that the Master System's really known for in retrospect, and for good reason. It's just a very good action platformer. Very, very, very good, you know? It has light RPG mechanics where you can buy boots that change your physics, and you can buy like little health items and whatnot here and there. There's also a lot of just hidden stuff in this game. It's worth noting that this game does have no continues or lives. If you die, fuck you. So yeah, you're gonna be replaying through this game a lot to try and get to the end, but there's so much hidden little stuff in this game that it all just kind of works, you know? Like, there's a lot of hidden shops, there's hidden boss fights, there's a lot in it. I really like this game. I do. I wish I could explain why I like it more, but it's clicking. The whole limited continues restart from the start thing, it's clicking with this game. I like it. I do. I think it's just because I'm like better at it than I am most limited continue games. Like, I made it to the final boss once. And then I had another attempt that made it to like level 11. There's only 12 levels in this game, so pretty far, you know? Yeah, like, I don't know, it's clicking. I got the itch to try and beat it, you know? I keep trying, and I might be making progress. Not sure, but I might be, you know? But yeah, really good game. Really, really good game. It might be the best on the Master System so far. I think so. But I've rambled enough. We need to go to the next game. Also, it looks like we got a flashing light warning for the next game, so yeah. I'll see y'all over there. Bye. Blade Eagle 3D. I'm gonna be honest with you, I think this is just your standard 3D shoot-'em-up thingamabob. I'm gonna be honest, it's been a while since I've played this game, because I checked out all of the games in this batch, and then I went back and I played Wonder Boy for like a while, a long while. So it's been a while since I've seen this game. I think it was alright, you know, I'm gonna be honest, I kind of dismiss, like, all of these 3D games, you know, like, I think it was a fine shoot-'em-up, I just, you know, 3D hurts my eyes, owie. Let's go to the next one, okay. Monopoly! Yep, it's Monopoly. While it's nice that the Master System, like, the Master System hasn't had a board game on it before, and it's nice to get something that's just, you know, different. But, yeah, it's Monopoly. I got lost in the menus a few times, so, can't say it's a great port of Monopoly, but What is there to say? It's Monopoly! Shinobi, this is another one of those games that the Master System's really known for, and yeah, it's... I like how it plays. I like how it plays a lot, but I take issue with how the camera works and the enemy placement. You know, like on talking about how the camera works, there are times where you need to move left through the game, and the camera doesn't reorient itself for this, so you can see really far to the right of yourself, but you can't see to the left of yourself at all, which means that if you haven't memorized the levels, you will get hit by enemies on the left. And it's not great, you know? And then, yeah, talking about enemy placement, there's just a lot of enemies where you just kind of need to know they're there in order to not get hit. And I don't know, in a game with limited continues and all that, I wasn't down for memorizing the enemy placement of every single enemy in the game. I just didn't find that fun. You know, I like how this game controls. It's more a stealth-based action platformer thing. Oh, I guess stealth is the wrong word for it, but it's a slower-paced combat style, you know, where you gotta, like, find your opening and then, like, throw your little ninja star. You know, like, it's a lot of just trying to find your opening, hiding, and then finding it, you know? Like, I like the controls, I just didn't find it fun. But, yeah, let's move on to the next game. Kenseiden. I'm not sure if that's the pronunciation of this game, but that's what I'm going with, I guess, you know? It's interesting that this game released, like, right after Shinobi, but, yeah, you know, a very similar game, weirdly enough, with very similar problems, I feel like, you know? This one is a lot more janky. It does play worse. But, yeah, it still has the issues of just enemies kind of just spawning directly on top of you. There's this one level... There's this one level where you gotta dodge, like, arrows that got shot at you, and, like, I swear they spawn directly on you. It is so fucked up. But it's also worth noting, this game looks really good. Like, really good. You know, like, this is one of those games that I look at and I'm like, damn, the Master System might actually be more powerful than the NES. It might be. You know, like, it looks really good. But, yeah, I enjoy this game, I do. It's also worth noting that, each time you beat a level, you can pick between two different levels to go to. Like, there are multiple routes you can pick, and, you know, that's cool. I like it. I do. You know, like, I have fun with this game. It's definitely a little janky. Even for my taste. It's a little bit a lot. But, yeah, let's go on to the next game. Miracle Warriors, Seal of the Dark Lord. Yeah, it's an RPG. We got a proper RPG on the Master System now. I think this is our first one over here in America. Yeah, it's, I really like its graphical presentation. I gotta say that. Other than that, though, I'm not gonna lie. I did not play this game for long. I died very, very quickly on all my attempts. And I'm not the biggest fan of RPGs. I'm just not. They're too slow-paced for my silly Gen Z brain. They're too... I just bounce off them, I get bored, you know? But I do like the graphical presentation of this game. It just feels different compared to most RPGs. It feels fresh, you know? And, yeah, I wish I had more to say about this game, but honestly, I really did play it for, like, 20 minutes. You know, it's just not my kind of thing, but there's probably potential here. Maybe. I don't know. Watch someone else's review on the game, okay? Look more into this one. There's gotta be other videos. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Yeah. Shanghai. Yeah, it's, you know, it's your nice, simple Mahjong solitaire. You know, it does claim to just be Mahjong, which is a pet peeve of mine when people make Mahjong solitaire games and then they just call them Mahjong. Because those are two different games. But yeah, it plays well, you know, if you've ever played Mahjong Solitaire, you know what to expect from this game. Yeah, it's like Monopoly, where, you know, it's a nice game to have on the Master System, just something different, you know? And also, honestly, I really like this game. Yeah, you know, I might have put a lot of hours into this. Look! I have fun with it. It's a nice chill little time, you know? You listen to the little podcast and you play the little Mahjong Solitaire, you know, it's a good time. But yeah, I like this game, you know, but there's not much to say about it, you know? You match the little tiles. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Spy vs. Spy. I'm not gonna lie, I've played this game for like a lot of systems by now. It just pops up a lot, it got a lot of ports. I've never really gotten into it, you know, like it's fine. I think it's a game that would be more fun in co-op, you know, but it's just me, you know? So, yeah, I don't know, it's like fine, I guess, you know, I don't know. You go around the little house, and you set all the little traps for the other computer player to maybe run into and explode, and, you know, they go kaboom. But you might also go kaboom if you try and put your trap where there's already a trap, you know? Also, I think the goal of this game is you gotta find, like, a key, and then that, like, unlocks, like, a door to escape the house or something? Something like that. I don't know. I played it, like, twice. It's fine, you know? It's a co-op game. Honestly, I had to double-check that the Master System even supported co-op, because the co-op, like, lineup of games so far has been, lacking. So yeah, it's... We need more co-op stuff. Yeah. Like, that might not affect me, but oh my goodness. We need more. We need a lot more two-player shit, you know? But, yeah. Alright, let's go on to the next one. Thunderblade. I'm gonna be honest, this is another one of those games that I didn't play for very long, and honestly, I don't remember that well, because it's been a while since I first checked out these games. You know, big gap between playing the games and then filming. My bad. But, yeah. I don't think I really vibed with this one too much. It's, you know, your more standard shoot 'em up and whatnot. Except, I don't know, I just felt like a lot of the enemies just, I was bad at reading the patterns and they kind of just all killed me. I died very, very, very fast in this one. I did not see much of this game. But, yeah, I don't know, it's a game. It's not... Out of all the games in this batch, this is not the one I would put my time into. You know, but yeah, it exists. It's alright, you know? What's next? What's next? And our last game of today's batch is going to be Double Dragon. Yeah, so normally I try and get through like an entire, like, half year's worth per day for this Master System project, but there's a lot of games in this batch that I ended up putting a lot of time into, so, you know, splitting it here. But yeah, Double Dragon. I don't understand. I don't think Sega knows how to do continues yet, believe it or not. I still don't think they do. So, this game, you have unlimited continues until the final level. And with how this game does continues, because this is like an arcade game, you know? So every time you put in a continue, that's just... So, where you die, that's where you start. Like, with how this game works, you have an infinite amount of health, essentially, until the final level. So what this causes is you have, like, I don't know, 10-15 minutes until you get to the final level of just... There's no stakes. There's no reward. It's just, if you attack every 5 minutes and just take every single hit, you'll still make it to the final level, you know? Like... It's a little broken. Yeah, I'd like some stakes. And then, yeah, the final level I died in very quickly. Like, don't get me wrong, this is another one of those games where it's nice that it has co-op. We need more co-op. But, yeah, yeah. I don't understand the appeal of this one. Not really. No, not really. It just takes so long to get to that final level, and then that's the only thing that matters. It takes like 10 minutes per, like, attempt, and it's like, that just, I'm not down for that, you know? But, yeah. That's all for day 6. Let future me take it away for more of my rambles on this batch of games. Yahoo! So yeah, that was day 6's batch of Master System games. Went through August to the start of November of 1988. Yeah, good batch of games. Very good batch of games. Like, Wonder Boy Monster Land, very good game. Monopoly, yeah, sure you can put time into it. Shinobi, sure you can put time into it. Kensiden, I want to play more of that game. I want to get more of the other routes and whatnot, you know? Miracle Warriors, good game. Not for me, but good game. Shanghai, I put so much fucking time into Shanghai, loved it. You know? Yeah, good lineup of games. It's a bit disappointing that, I still don't feel like they figured out continues. I really don't. You know, like, I don't think there's a single game in this batch that really figured them out properly. I don't know, like Miracle Warriors, I guess, might have. I don't know how that game save system works, honestly. I didn't make it far enough into that game to save. But, yeah, you know, a bit disappointing about that, but, like, very good batch of games. Yeah, very, very, very good. You know, it's a bit, it still just feels like Sega's figuring things out. Like, you know, the games are getting better as time keeps going, which is very, very nice. But, you know, like, I want to say the Genesis is out in Japan. Like, the Genesis already came out. Like, the next console's out. The replacement, it's here, you know? And it's like, it's a shame, honestly. You know, because, like, they really are just now figuring out how to make a game that's worth a while work. And it's just too late, you know? Like, if I hadn't already gotten a Master System, and, you know, I was in, like, October 1988, and I knew the Genesis was coming, I'd just wait for that. You know, like, I love these games. There's not much reason to buy a Master System. There's not anymore at this point in time, you know? And that's a shame, because, like, it really feels like we're just now starting to get, like, the good shit, you know? And, like, But, yeah. Alright, Future Depths, take it away with day 7. So, Phantasy Star released. It's been a second since I've recorded one of these because, yeah, I played all of this game, and it's a long one. But yeah, I'm probably just gonna ramble for the next 20 minutes about it. Sorry about it, you know? But yeah, wow. So, some context. This game, it's, you know, it's your standard 80s is it standard or who knows? But, you know, it's your 80s RPG and whatnot. It's inspired by Dragon Quest, but it's worth noting this game managed to get a localization in America almost a solid year before Dragon Quest got a localization. So just, this game's insanely early for the US market in RPGs. You know, while dungeon crawlers and whatnot were pretty popular, RPGs not so much. You know, but, it's all, just There's so much stuff I want to talk about in this game. Yeah, okay, also, since I'm on the topic of dungeon crawlers, this game, it does take inspiration from them, to the point where half the game just is a dungeon crawler. You know, all of the dungeons in the game, they are first person, and also, can y'all just look at this animation that's playing on screen right now? Can y'all look at how smoothly these dungeons move? That's fucking insane. I just feel like we need to make it clear. It's so smooth. But yeah, okay, plot. So, basically, you play as Alice, your brother tries to expose evil, corrupt government thingamabob, dies doing so, so you avenge him, and yeah, you know, who cares about the plot, you know? Also, okay, there's, like, main characters, you know, there's 4 of them. You know, you have your Alice, you have Meow, the cat. Fucking love Meow. Absolutely, yes, best part of the game, you know? You know, you have Noah, the androgynous mage character thingamabob. I keep using the word thingamabob. And then you have, I don't know, Odin? I don't know, he's a man. I have nothing to say about him. You know, but, like, we have Meow, and I just, you know, good characters. Meow brings it up. You know, like, I've tried getting into RPGs, like, these early ones, and, you know, I always kind of bounce off of them. I always find them a bit boring, you know, they're just like, oh, whatever, you know? But you tell me I get to play as a cat, and, like, it's the best thing ever, you know? Absolutely adore it. Also, mechanically, there are so many things I love about this game. The combat system and whatnot, I feel like it works well, you know? I feel like a lot of RPGs and whatnot, they just require too many button presses for each fight. I feel like it just drags down the pacing of the game. Where this one, you're not allowed to select who you attack in battle. Which, honestly, I really like, because, you know, you're not selecting which character you're fighting for every single attack. for every single round, you know? It's just faster. You know, if you want to attack, just push attack. You know, it's nice and simple. I like it. You know, also, like, I keep using the word also, what about it? You know, but also, you can run away from things so easily. So easily. I swear you can run away from like 80% of things without any issue. You know, and I like it. You know, this game doesn't like force you to do combat if you don't want to. If you're just trying to walk straight to a town, you can do that. Just walk to the town, run away from things, you'll be fine. You're gonna be under-leveled and under-moneyed and whatnot, but you know, whatever. We need an incentive for the fights. You know, it works. It's cool. I like that it doesn't feel completely forced upon you. You are able to just explore if you want to. Talking about exploring, this game has 3 planets that you explore, and like, it's not super linear either. Like, you bounce between the planets constantly. It's really cool. Yeah, I will say though, that's like my one kind of issue with the game, which isn't even an issue. I should have just played the game differently, you know? But so you're able to access like a lot of dungeons, right? Like a lot of them. And the game doesn't really keep track of which dungeons you've already done before. And it's hard to remember which ones you've done. So that's kind of fucked up. It's hard to pick up and play and just know where you are, but it is worth noting. I said that word wrong, what about it? You know, I'm doing this in one take. The game manual, it does have a map of each planet, and like honestly, I'd kind of recommend making like a photocopy of it, or just taking a photo on like your phone nowadays, I guess. And like, you know, marking which dungeons you've done off of that, just so you can keep track of what you're doing, you know? I'd enjoy it, yeah, I'd recommend that. I should have done that, I didn't, but yeah, I'd recommend it. Now, one of the complaints I see this game get a lot is just the amount of farming you have to do in this game. Honestly, I didn't run into that problem at all. Now, it's worth noting, I tried to do the majority of this game without a walkthrough. I did cave a little bit near the start of the game just to try and get my footing in, you know? But, yeah, a lot of people complain about the amount of farming in this game. I didn't have a problem with that, and that's, I think, because a lot of this game really is just, you know, exploring, trying to figure out where to go and whatnot, and a lot of the times, you go the wrong way, and you make no progress. But while you're doing that, you are fighting enemies, you know? Like, if you're exploring properly without just going from point A to point B, you should be fine and not really have to farm too much, you know? So that's worth noting. I don't know, I feel like, okay, side tangent. I feel like so many times when people play retro games like this, they end up using like a ton of save states and walkthroughs and all of that, and it makes the experience worse. It just, you know, like, no hate to people who do, but like, so many times people will use like a walkthrough and go from point A to point B, and then complain that they missed the middle step and how that fucked them over, and it's like, you wouldn't have had this problem if you didn't use the walkthrough. Sorry, anyways. Yeah, what else do I want to say about this game? I like it. I really like the art. I've already mentioned this, but talking about the art, I wish there was more of it. This game, like, it's not even the game's fault, but like, I wish they could fit more art into this game. Like, this game, it uses one of the biggest cartridges on the Master System. Only like 4 games used a cartridge this big on it. But yeah, I wish they had more cartridge space so they could make just more art. I love the art. I do. I want to see more of it. You know, there's also so much enemy variety. There's so many fucking enemies. Yeah. It just keeps it fresh. It's nice. I love it. I love it. You know? It's also worth noting, I'm one of those people who really enjoys drawing, like, game maps and whatnot. You will have to make a map in the dungeons. I guess that's worth noting, because some people hate doing that, but you will have to make a map. You will. You know, get out your graph paper, get out your pen, and just go, you know? Oh, what else is there? Good game. I thought I could ramble longer, I'm not gonna lie, but I think that's basically everything. I think it is. You know, just... Oh, also you can save, like, anywhere. Like, anywhere. You know? That's crazy. I kinda love it. You know, it really helps just limit the amount of, like, RNG, I guess. You know, like, yeah, it's an 80s RPG. There's gonna be RNG. There is, but also, like, I mean, if you end up getting, like, really bad RNG, you can just, like, go back to a save that happened, like, directly before the bad RNG and be fine, you know? Like, there's just ways to counter dumb bullshit that most RPGs have, and it's good, you know? Also, another piece of advice if you're gonna play this game. Rotate your saves. I've also seen a lot of people complain about this game, because you're possible to softlock. It's possible to softlock if you save in a, like, pit in a dungeon. There's, like, 2 dead-end pits in dungeons, where if you fall into them, you just die. And for some reason, people have issues of saving in those pits, and they don't rotate their saves. I don't know how modern players play retro games. I don't fully understand, but please rotate your save. This goes for all games, you know? Oh, okay, I think that's everything though. Good fucking game. Sega, you nailed it. You did good. Hooray. I don't know what section of the video is coming up next, so I'll see you over there. Okay, hi. It's been a while since I've recorded one of these. I'm tired and I have like 20 minutes to record this, so this is gonna be very rambly, okay? I'm gonna try and do this in one take. Bear with me. So, we're looking at video games. Our next game is gonna be Golvellius Valley of Doom. I did a full playthrough of this game. It's nice, it's interesting. It's top-down, sort of, a lot of people describe this game as like Zelda 1. I wouldn't fully say that, as this game has a lot more of a focus on, like, finding the dungeons rather than the dungeons themselves. Yeah, this game, it felt very much like a one-trick pony. You know, it's a lot of just, you walk to the new area, you look for the dungeon, you look for the new dungeon, you look for the new dungeon, you look for the new dungeon, and then you get to the dungeon and you beat it in, like, 5 minutes, you know? And, like, you never really upgrade your powers or anything. While, yes, you do get technically stronger, like, you get more health, your attack damage goes up, shit like that, but, you know, it doesn't feel different at any point. It's very one trick. You know, like, it's fine, it's fun, I had a time with it. Yep, I had a time. Okay, our next game, Power Strike. I really like this one. I did not do a I did not do a full playthrough of it. You know, I got to, like, level 2, level 3, I think level 3. It's shoot 'em up, which has unlimited continues between levels. Fuck yeah, love that. I really liked how this game controlled. I liked everything about it, really. It's difficult. I'm not that great at shoot 'em ups, so definitely struggled in this one. But unlimited continues, fuck yeah, we need more of this. Okay, next game. R-Type. It's R-Type. Graphically, this game looks insane. Yeah, I really like how this game looks. It's worth noting this game uses a larger cartridge size than most games. It's, the same cartridge size as Phantasy Star, if you're curious. That's a little crazy to me. But, yeah, I like this one. It's good. It's good. But also, I think it's like level 4 or whatever is like really hard. You know, I haven't been able to get past it. I can get to like level 4 with no deaths, it'll be perfectly fine. I get to level 4, instantly die. You know, the one with like the little ships that run past the screen and drop all the little balls? You know, that one. Big jump in difficulty. Fucked up. But good game, good game. Okay, Rambo 3. That's our next game. Now, Rambo, I want to say this is a Lycan game. It's been a while since I've played these games. It was fine. It was fine. You know, like, if this was released earlier in the Master System's life, it would have been better. But, yeah, like, you know, if this was released like a year or 2 ago, this would be like an amazing game. At this point, have you noticed that every game so far has been like really good? You know, like Rambo 3, it's alright, but it doesn't really hold up to the games being released around this time. You know, like, it's fine. You know. Okay. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? I do not have enough interest to play this game. I played it for a little bit, but from my understanding, this is a children's edutainment game, which its main goal is to teach children how to, like, do research and stuff. It came with, like, a little book, and, you know, the game will give you, like, hints about areas, and you gotta, like, look them up in the little book to, like, you know, put in the answers and whatnot. I don't have that little book. You can probably find it online. Honestly, I didn't care enough to do that. This is one of those games where, like, it's charming. I can see why some people really like it. I am not the demographic for it. You know, like, it's fine. It's fine. You know, and, yeah, wait, is that really it? I think that's all the games in this batch. That was 4 minutes. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so overall, this batch of games, insanely fucking good. Insanely good. You know, like this December season, this Christmas season in 1988, fucking fantastic. Like they're finding it. They found it. Sega, they figured out how to make a video game. They did it. It's a little bit late. We have like 1 year till the Genesis releases. But, you know, they found it. They did it. Good job, Sega. You know, and, yeah. Depths, take it away with the next segment. Alright, let's get back into this thing. It's been a little bit. Also, sorry for the audio quality. It's currently raining, and there's, like, a truck outside that's been running, and my cats are in the room, and this... you're watching this video. Audio quality's just gonna be all over the place, okay? But, yeah, first game of today's batch. It is Bomberade, which, fun fact, was the final game released in Japan for the Sega Master System. Yeah, it's a shoot 'em up. I never made it very far. I kind of suck at this one, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know, I feel like my bullets are, like, so small and they move so fast that, like, when I tried to shoot an enemy, my bullets just, like, zip right on by the side of them. I just felt like that happened a lot more in this game than in most shoot 'em ups, you know? Also, I find it really funny how this game starts, and, like, the background scroll makes it, like, impossible to see your own bullet. Like, just for the background, it's only for a little bit, but still, you know, I find that funny. But, yeah, I don't know, I never made it very far in this game. You know, I just seem fine, you know? Alright, but what's next? Watch me act like I don't know. Cyborg Hunter. I didn't play much of this game, honestly. I started it and it felt really clunky and I kind of just wandered around, not really sure what to do. I should probably check the manual. I didn't care enough to check the manual. It just felt bad to play, you know? That's about my review. It's an action platformer. I should probably say that. Yeah. Good review. Okay. Alright. Next game. Rampage. This is an interesting one, I guess. I don't know. So, like, I like live stream me playing all these games and whatnot. And, like, I've played multiple ports of Rampage, and people seem to love this game. It's just, it hasn't clicked for me. It hasn't. So, you are, like, a Godzilla type monster. There's multiple monsters you can pick, but, you know, that's sort of type and whatnot, you know? I guess King Kong would be better, where, like, you climb buildings, and you destroy the buildings, and, yeah, it's, it looks cool. I don't like the gameplay. It's really slow, it doesn't feel great, yeah. It's not against the Master System, I just don't like this game in general, really. I will say, this port of the game, it looks very nice, especially compared to the NES version. Yeah, it looks very, very nice. But this game just, it hasn't clicked. Yeah. It just hasn't. Do you hear my cat in the background? Neat. Alright, what's next? Lord of the Sword. I've played a decent bit of this game. I put a good bit of time into this one. It's interesting. Yeah. So, action platformer with a somewhat open world and whatnot, with some inventory puzzles and stuff, you know, your classical, like, Zelda 2 style, you know, where you get an item, and you might need to use it somewhere, and, yeah, I have issues with this game. I feel like this one could have been good. It could have been, but you'll notice a running theme. Like every other game in this batch, it controls like shit. This game uses up to jump. And then I want to say it's button 2 for the bow and button 1 for the sword. I could have swapped the sword and the bow, but yeah, it's just not, it feels horrible. And then on top of that, this game's limited continues, which, you know, I don't hate games with obscure puzzles and whatnot, that's like fine, but you know, a game with obscure puzzles where you have to redo the puzzles constantly, it gets very, very tiring. No, bad. Don't do this, Sega. No, make a good game, please. Please. Alright, next up is, I forgot to say the word is. I'm keeping that in. Poseidon Wars 3D. Do I have to talk about this one? I'm gonna be real with you. I forgot this game existed until I had to record this, so I just played a couple of minutes of it, and you know, it's a 3D game. Hurts my eyes. Yep. Alright, can we move on to the next thing? Because we're moving on to the next thing. Reggie Jackson Baseball. It's a baseball game. It looks nice, it's cool, it plays alright. One of the better games in this batch of games, but yeah, there's a million baseball games out there even from around this time. I think there's 20 on the NES. There's not that many on the Master System, weirdly enough, but yeah, you know, it's baseball, it works, it's cool. Yeah. East, The Vanished Omens. So this is one of the big releases, I guess, from around this time, absolutely. I'm gonna be real with you, I've said it before and I'll probably say it again. I don't care much for RPGs. I found it hard to get into this one, honestly. I really did. I played it for a couple of hours. Yeah, it is an interesting one, though. It features bump combat. Which, you know, there's something about it. You know, it has a bit more, depth to it than normal bump combat does, where, like, depending on which side you hit the enemy on, it, like, does different amounts of damage and stuff, and you may get hit more or less. So there is stuff going for it, but you know, I don't know. It just doesn't work for me. You know, like I see how people would love this game. It's not for me, but you know, fair enough. Yeah. Like I don't know. There's appeal here. Did I say it's an RPG? It's an RPG with bump combat. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have much to say. I didn't make it very far, honestly. You know, I farmed for a good few items, and then I wandered the world, and I didn't really find anything, and you know, this game, it deserves being played more. You know, if you're going through the Master System games, play this one. Play this one. It's one of the highlights. I didn't play it, but like, you should play it. Like, you should. Okay. Now that that's out of the way, let's go to the next one. Ralston. So, yeah, I think this is probably my favorite game in this batch of games. I'm looking at the list right now. Yeah, it is. Maybe, sure, we'll go with that. Yeah, I think this is my favorite. It's an action platformer with janky controls, and I don't know why I'm doing this accent now, but this is just how we're gonna review the game. Yeah, it's got very stiff controls, you know, you have your fixed jump heights and whatnot, and jump distances, and it feels very, very stiff, almost like a Castlevania. But, you know, you have a bit more movement. I'm pretty sure this game does use up to jump, because of fucking course it does. I hate games that use up to jump. But yeah, limited continues. It's always limited continues. I don't know, it's a fine game. I played it for a decent bit. I got decently far into it. The boss fights are very, very janky, that's for sure. Just all around a very janky game, you know, like, there's a little something here, but not enough. But there's a little something. There's a little spice in it. It's not in, like, my top 10 favorite Master System games, but it's in the upper quarter. It's yeah. Yeah. Can I just say yeah and call it the end of the review? Because that's what we're doing, okay? Okay. It's time for what we've all been waiting for. It's time for the game that's gonna make the Master System a world's best-selling thing ever. Alf. So this is a little notorious. This game's got a reputation, and you know, rightfully so, a little bit. I don't know, a lot of people say this is the worst game, like, ever made. It's not that bad. Like, it's made like shit, you know, every time you turn around, your character disappears because it wasn't programmed well. There are so many things wrong with this game and how it controls and everything, but I'm gonna be real with you. This is, like, the most fun I had with any game in this batch. That's honestly not saying much. I think this batch of games is, one of our worst. But, yeah, I think it's fun. You know, there's something fun about the shit. So, it's an open world action platformer thingamabob. You gotta find the items so that you can go in the place and do the thing. I don't know what the goal of Alpha is, honestly. I know, like, I don't know, you find, like, a bat, and then you can go and, like, kill bats in a cave. And it's shit like that, you know? Like, I don't know why we're killing all the bats. I probably should. It's been a couple months since I played this game. Am I allowed to tell you a secret? I'm gonna tell you a secret. I've been putting off recording this batch of games for, like, a while. I've just been playing NES games, which I feel like says a lot, you know? Like, every game in this batch is kind of shit. So I haven't wanted to talk about it. So I've just been playing NES games. I played Pinball Quest lately. Can everyone just go play Pinball Quest? Can we just play Pinball Quest? And then recently, last night, I played something. Oh, I should know the name. Oh, I played Gun Knack. That was good. Go play that. Can I just recommend the NES? I know this isn't a review of the NES, but just go play the NES. It's so much better. Other than, like, the colors and the graphics, but whatever. You know? Okay, but that's Elf. I have fun with this game. Not the worst game in the world. Kind of funny. Meow. California Games! It's a minigame compilation. It's probably fun in multiplayer. I've played multiple parts of this game. I don't care for really any of them in single player, you know? Like, it's a party game, you know? And, like, it just doesn't work with just me, you know? So, local viewer at home, you should, invite me to play California Games with you. You should do this. But, yeah, I don't care for it. It's a lot of the minigames are just button mash, which, you know, is, like, fine, but it's hard for me to recommend a game when all it is mash the button. You know? So, yeah, that's California Games. It sure exists. Time Soldiers. This is a top-down run-and-gun, I guess? That's what I'm gonna call it. These games rarely work for me, but honestly, I do like this one. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. You know, like, nice music, good bosses. Yeah, this one worked. I will say, this game has no continues, so, you know, it's not a game that makes much of a lasting impact on me, you know, it's more of a, like, play it for 20 minutes, have some fun, put it down, and do something else, you know? It's one of those. And, like, yeah, it fits that role really well, so, you know. Would I recommend it? A little bit. Not strongly, but a little bit. You know? But yeah, I enjoyed this one. Yeah, it's neat. Yeah. Vigilante. It's beat 'em up, it looks nice, the music's alright. I don't tend to care for beat 'em ups, I just find that there are a lot of holding forwards and pushing the punch button when you need to. And this one does not seem to be an exception to that rule. I will say, I do like this better than that one, which I'm forgetting the name of right now. That one, which was, like, unlimited, like, lives until the final level. Like, that was some bullshit. You know, this one's like, it's a functional game. I'll give it that. Yep. Oh, the Master System. What's next? Alex Kidd in High Tech World. This game fucking sucks. For some context, this game was not designed as an Alex Kidd game, though we wouldn't really know that in North America. Because, yeah, over here it's Alex Kidd game, and you spend the majority of the game running around a house, and I don't even fucking know. Like, you don't even do anything in the house, really. You get asked, like, trivia questions, like, about, like, old Japanese history, and it's like, who knows this? And then you go from that to random math questions and shit, and it's like, what? 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 And then the house has multiple just complete death, like death pits, which you won't be able to see. Like, you know, there's multiple staircases between floors, where you won't be able to see it on the stairs, but if you, like, start the animation of going, like, up the stairs, you'll, like, fall through and just die, and then you have to restart the whole game, essentially, and this game's a mess. No! Ew! How is Alex Kidd viewed as, like, the mascot? Like, I understand he's marketed as the mascot, but his games kinda suck. Altered Beast. So, this is another one of Sega's big arcade hits, which is now being ported over to the Master System, and it is alright for what these games are. I don't know, I feel like some of these big, like, conversions work really well, and some of them don't at all, looking at you, Space Harrier. But, yeah, it's alright. It's not great. If you've never played Altered Beast, the game slowly scrolls to the right, or left. You walk to the right. And, yeah, it's a beat 'em up with these really big sprites, really good animations for the time and whatnot, and it's alright, you know? It's got some interesting bosses and stuff. But, yeah, I don't know, I've never been a huge fan of Altered Beast, going back to what I said about not super caring for beat 'em ups. And, this is not a good way to play it, really. Like, it's about as good as the Master System's gonna get, but this game's very clearly just not designed for the Master System, and it comes out on the Genesis in about a month, because the Genesis releases in about a month, so it's like, you know, just... if you're getting a Genesis, just wait for that. Just wait for that release. It's so much better. Like, this version doesn't have, like, a lot of the big voice lines and whatnot, and, like, nah, those are, like, needed, you know? You need the voice lines. Montezuma's Revenge. So this is an interesting one. It's a port of a Atari 2600 game. So, as you would expect, this game is very, very small on scale, and yes, it does let you select any level from the start of the game, and yes, all the levels are the same, just with slight differences in, like, enemy placement, different, like, doors to block your way. I haven't said it yet, but this is a very early example of a Metroidvania, if you're curious what kind of game this is. Very small, but yeah, it's a good time. I actually really like this game. It's a bit weird playing it in 1989 on the Master System. It's a very late release. Like, this game originally released in, checks my notes, 1984. So, you know, it's a little late bringing it over here, but yeah, it's cool. King's Quest: Quest for the Crown. That's a weird title, but yeah, it doesn't flow. Yeah, okay, it's King's Quest. Do I have to explain King's Quest? It's a point-and-click adventure game full of a lot of moon logic and whatnot. This is the game series that really helped popularize moon logic. And yeah, I did not do a full playthrough of this game. Honestly, I didn't play much of it at all because that's just a lot. You know, like, I like doing this project, but that's just a level of commitment that I just don't have. I don't want to play through all of King's Quest, you know? I'm okay. But yeah, I have seen a lot of other people talk about this part of the game, and it's not good. Not really. Like, you know, if you want to play King's Quest and you don't have a computer, this works. It's one of the worst ways to play the game, but it works, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't recommend it, though. And with that, yeah, that wraps up this batch of games. In the next batch, the Genesis has released, So that's gonna be interesting, seeing what they release on the Master System after the Genesis releases. But yeah, this batch of games, honestly, I delayed recording this batch for forever because I don't really like any of these games too much. I really don't, you know, like, the most fun I had with some of these games was fucking Alf. It was Alf. Alf's not good. That shouldn't be the most fun. It shouldn't be. You know, but yeah, like, Alf was fun. Alex Kidd in High Tech World was awful. Montezuma was weird. Time Soldiers was alright. Yeah. Yeah, not a lot here. Just not a lot here in general to care about. Not really. I will say, I've already played through a decent bit of the next batch of games, and oh, they're good. Have fun once we get over there. Bye. Hi, sorry if I sound terrible for this upcoming segment, but I have a sore throat, I feel like shit. The audio quality might also be shit, you know? But yeah, Cloudmaster. This is an interesting little side-scrolling shoot-'em-up. Yeah, I like how it controls, I like the bullet patterns, I like a lot about this game. This is a shoot-'em-up where you do have to spam the button the entire game. And the Sega Master System does not have, like, a third-party controller that supports a turbo fire function. So, yeah, I didn't want to destroy my hands, so didn't make it very far. But, yeah, it seems like a nice game, I just don't have the hands for it. What's up next? Also, just one more thing before we get into the next game. Cloudmaster has unlimited continues. I feel like I forgot to mention this, but yeah, on to the next game. Wanted. This is a light gun game, it's alright, I'm not gonna lie. I like the music a lot, I like the sound design, but all in all, it's a pretty typical light gun game. Like, don't get me wrong, it's good, but at the same time, I feel like we have like 50 light gun games that all kind of control exactly the same. So where it's like, you know, I think we can get away with no longer releasing any light gun games. You know, but it's a fine game. Yeah, it's fine. What's up next? Captain Silver. Oh, this is a game that was originally made by Data East, released in arcades in 1987, so it is definitely a bit of a dated release for the Master System at this time. Yeah, it's a fun one though, you know, it's a little janky, because, you know, Data East, if you've ever played any of their games, they, got some, edges. It's not been smooth. But yeah, it's a fun one. It's a fun one. It has limited or no continues. Honestly, I can't remember, but at the same time, this game only features 4 levels. I was looking at the Wikipedia page for this game because I was curious when the arcade version released, and apparently they added more levels to the Japanese and European release of the game. But yeah, over here in America, it only has 4 levels. So, like, you know, it's a fun one. Is it a highly recommend? Not really. There's just not enough here for it to get that. But yeah, it's a fun one. Yeah. Yeah. Casino games. This is made by the same people who did Parlor Games. It's probably like 2 hours back in the video at this point, honestly. But yeah, you know, like Parlor Games, this game's it's just very well made. It's you know, essentially a minigame compilation. There we go. But yeah, you know, you have your blackjack, you have your poker, you have slots, you have pinball. You actually have a pretty good pinball table. Like, the physics are nice. The table itself is it's realistic. Can they stop making realistic pinball tables in video games? Go crazy, go bonkers, you know? But it's well made. You know, this entire game's well made. Yeah, you know, if you want to play pinball and card games and slots, here you go. I personally don't find those games too substantial in video game form, but yeah, they're nice. So yeah, good little game. What's up next? Spellcaster. Spellcaster's a lot of things. I really like this game, but it's a lot. It is a first-person point-and-click adventure. It has a small dungeon crawler section. It has normal RPG combat here and there. It is mostly, though, an action platformer. It also has a surprise ending where it goes to a completely new game genre. I don't want to completely spoil that, but oh, it's good. It's good. This game's a lot. Yeah, I really like this game, actually. I liked a lot about it. There's a lot of game here in general. This game took me a little while to beat. I think it was like 11 hours, 12 hours, something like that. Yeah, it controls well. It has a good plot. It reminds me almost of like a modern game with how the pacing is, where like you'll have a level and then you'll have some plot. You'll run around a little bit and then boom, surprise boss with more plot. And like, you know, the plot is like very like integral to the game. And like it feels very it's held up very, very well. Yeah, highly recommend this game. I'm trying to think of other things to say about it. I really don't have much. It's just very, go play it. Go play it. Go play it. Go play it. Okay? Okay. Walter Payton Football. Honestly, I like fully forgot this game existed, so I just had to replay a bit of it to try and refresh my memory, and honestly, even then, I still didn't remember it, but yeah, I just played like 5-10 minutes of it. Seems fine. It's, you know, it's your typical football game. It has a lot of cutscenes. Like, a lot. For better or for worse. Personally, honestly, I found that the pacing of the game was just slow, in general. Like, after every single play, you gotta, like, decide what you're gonna do, and then, like, 50% of the time there's, like, a ref call, so you gotta, like, watch the ref, like, walk up and, like, call the thing. And, like, it all moves very quickly. You know, like, there's a lot of music here that keeps the vibe up. Everything moves very, very quickly, but at the same time, it's like, I just want to play football. You know, I don't know, like, I'm not a big football fan, but, like, if I'm playing football, I want to play football. I don't want to just sit in a menu for, like, half the game, you know? But, yeah, I don't know. It wasn't memorable to me, but also I'm not the target demographic for this, that's for sure. Yeah, Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap. Very nice game. I fully finished this game. Very good time, but, yeah. So, game starts out, it recaps the entirety of Wonder Boy 2, including, like, the final boss and whatnot. Like, you play it, they make it really easy, but, you know, you do play it. And then it's revealed that the dragon cast a spell on you. And now for the rest of the game, we're gonna be playing as, like, animal forms and whatnot. Each animal has different, like, moves and abilities and little stuff like that. Some can climb on walls, some are stronger, stuff like that, you know? Pretty simple, but, you know, it keeps it fresh. It's a very cute game. Also, it just allows them to, you know, have more environments and stuff. It's very, very nice. Overall, I really enjoyed this game. It was a very nice time. I will say, though, I think this game has a problem of, it's playing a balancing act, where each, like, level, I should explain the level system more. This game is a borderline Metroidvania, I guess. You have, like, your overworld, and your overworld has, like, different dungeons. There's, I don't know, I'm gonna throw out like 6 dungeons throughout the game. There's probably more, probably less, I don't know. But, you know, there's like 6 dungeons throughout the overworld, and you gotta like find each dungeon, and, you know, it's a nice little time. But you always spawn essentially at the start of the game every time you die. And this means that going from where you spawn to, you know, beating a dungeon, takes a really long time. Now, to combat this, they make the game overall really easy. It's a pretty easy game, all in all. So, yeah, that's nice. You know, it means that you're not constantly being sent back a good, like, 15 minutes of progress, you know? But, also, I don't know, it means that they can't really make the game difficult, and they're having a balancing act, you know? It's got a bit of a flaw. A bit. To make matters a bit worse, especially for later in the game when, like, the game gets more difficult. So every time you respawn, it spins a wheel. And the wheel, if it lands on the thing you want it to, will give you a health potion. And if it doesn't, you don't get that health potion. Now that health potion, there's a chance of it doubling your health. Which is cool, it's nice, it adds some variety to the game. But when you get to, like, the final, I don't know, like, 2 levels, you borderline need the health potion to the point where you're kinda just dying immediately to spin the wheel until you get the health potion, and then you're allowed to try the dungeon. It's just very annoying. Yeah, with that being said, also the final boss of the game, it's possible for the final boss to just spawn on you and kill you immediately. Yeah, that's just a possibility in the game. It's not very well designed in its difficulty. So, yeah, I enjoyed the game overall, but it's got some problems. But yeah, what's up next? Hi, just throwing this in here at the end. We're not at the next game yet. This game has so much farming. There's a surprising amount of farming, especially near the end of the game. They're like, okay, we need to make this game significantly longer, so you will be farming for a extended amount of time. Just wanted to throw that in there. I'm aware of this. Okay, next game. Galaxy Force. This is Space Harrier on the Master System done, like, well. It still is very hard to tell just what the fuck is happening a lot of the time. But, yeah, it's good. It's a good one. If you're familiar with Space Harrier, it's like a shoot 'em up thingamabob, except it's like first person, and everything kind of just comes straight at you. And this game is significantly better than Space Harrier for the fact that, like, enemies tend to, like, sit in front of you and move, like, side to side, rather than move, like, straight at you. Because, like, Space Harrier has so many enemies that move straight at you, and the Master System just can't handle that kind of perspective very well. Like, don't get me wrong, this game also has that, but enemies here tend to actually be, like, somewhere in space. You know, also, it appears that every level ends with, like, a whole, almost like a, you know that Star Wars scene thingamabob where the one man flies within the Death Star thingamabob, like, in the little tunnel? Like, every level ends with that, where you gotta do, like, all these, like, sharp little turns and, like, not hit the walls. Like, honestly, it's really cool. I actually really like it. It's, once again, little hard to tell what's going on, but it's done well. It's done very well. Is it my favorite game on the Master System? No. Did I finish it? No. But I like it. I like it a lot. Also, it's worth noting, you can pick between one of 4 levels at the very start of the game, which, good. I like this mechanic in games like this. I like having multiple options and not just being stuck on the same beginning area over and over and over. Good game! Good game, yeah, they did it. Dead angle. How do you explain dead angle? It feels like it's a light gun game, but it's not. The camera perspective's interesting to where the camera's essentially behind your character, but you can still see through your character. And you need to shoot, like, everyone who's, like, on screen in front of you. But you also need to make sure that you're not standing directly in front of any of the characters, or they will shoot you, and they will kill you. And, yeah, it's a bit clunky, because, you know, the Master System only has the one D-pad, which means that your movement and aiming your bullets are on the same input. It's very, very clunky. That, and also, as you might be able to catch on looking at footage of the game now, it runs at like 5 frames per second. This game doesn't feel good. It doesn't. I'm sure there's a concept here, but it doesn't work for me. The game doesn't work on the Master System. It just doesn't. Yeah. Hi, I made a mistake. I totally got the European version of this game, but it's Heavyweight Champ, which should have been James Buster Douglas's Knockout Boxing. But yeah, I got the European version. Oops. So that's what we're reviewing. In any case, it's not good. It's really not. It's a wrestling game. Have I gone on this ramble in this video? Maybe, but like wrestling games, they always suck. There's not a single good wrestling game just ever around this time. There isn't. Your moves are, you can punch with your left hand, punch with your right hand, or you can charge up and you can punch harder. And that's about it. You hold forwards and you spam the punch buttons. There's not much to it. I'm gonna be honest, you know, I started one round and it said, like, I fought, like, one guy, and then it said there was 9 rounds of fighting that one guy, and I didn't even get through that. I made it through, like, 3, and I was like, I'm bored. So, yeah, don't play it. It's a wrestling game, though. You probably knew that already, but don't play it, okay? Okay. Golden Axe. I think most people are probably familiar with Golden Axe, but if you're not, it's a 2.5D beat-em-up thingamabob with a lot of mythical stuff and whatnot in it. It's a neat game. Most people are probably familiar with the arcade and Genesis version, rightfully so, because this version, it's in the same, like, category for me as, like, Altered Beast, where, like, yeah, it's playable. I'm not sure you want to, though. You know, it just doesn't run great. It doesn't look great. It's definitely a downport, you know, like, yeah, like, if you really want Golden Axe on the Master System, it's here, but, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't. Yeah. It's it's rough. Yeah. Ah. There's my review. Just me saying ah. Slapshot, yeah, it's hockey, it's nice, it controls well, it's fast-paced, it has some nice art. Apparently there's a fighting mechanic. I'm gonna be honest, I played a full round of this game, I never got that once, and then I was just playing it again to refresh my memory a little bit. And yeah, I totally got like in a fight with another player, that was scary. But yeah, it's hockey, it's done well. Yeah. Is it anything substantial? No. But whatever, it's fun. Yeah. Psycho Fox. So, straightforward action platformer, essentially. It uses the same engine as Kid Cool, a game on the NES, and that's interesting because this game is very, very straightforward. Honestly, I found the game a bit too easy. It took me about, I don't know, 2.5 hours, 3 hours to beat, if that, and like, there really isn't much replay value here, so I wish it had more. I wish it was more challenging, honestly. Like, there are interesting mechanics in this game engine. Like, Kid Cool uses one of the mechanics very, very often. There's a water skipping mechanic where if you run at full speed into, like, a lake of water, you'll skip across it. And then, like, if you hold the jump button, you'll do, like, a high jump. And then, a lot of the times, they'll have the high jump go into, like, a pole. And then if you time your jump with the pole just right, you'll be flung very far. In Psycho Fox, well, yes, it uses the same engine, it has those same mechanics. It doesn't use them. Like, there wasn't a single time in Psycho Fox where I had to actually use the lake skipping mechanic, or, like, the far jump off the pole mechanic. Like, it's a alright action platformer, it's fine, it doesn't do anything that wrong, I just wish there was a bit more. But it is interesting that, like, this game released a year after Kid Cool on the NES, and it is, it's just worse, I guess, you know, but also it's, like, a lot more polished, you know? I describe it as Kid Cool without the bumps. It's very smoothed over, this game. And it's a bit of a shame. Also, just a side tangent, I find it funny how a lot of people tell you this is one of the best games on the Master System, and, like, I guess it is. Like, it is worth playing, it's a perfectly fine game. But I find it funny how this is rated as, like, the best game ever, possibly. And, like, it's just Kid Cool, a game that no one has heard of on the NES except worse. I shouldn't say worse, I'm just have fucked up taste in games. Like, Kid Cool has this really fucked up mechanic. I guess it's not a mechanic, it's a technical limitation of the coding. But every time your character goes, like, too high up or too far down, the entire game freezes so the camera can pan up and down. It's a mess, where they fix that problem in Psycho Fox. So, like, you know, they made the game a lot better this time around, but yeah, got rid of a lot of the charm. Also, sorry, another tangent about the games and whatnot. So yeah, this game, Sega Fox, it took me like 2-3 hours to beat. Okay, cool. Kid Cool took me a good like 8 hours just due to how much more difficult that game is. And Kid Cool has multiple endings. Kid Cool has like 1,000,000 endings and like a ton of replay value. The ending changes based on how long the game took you. Psycho Fox doesn't have any of that. There's very little replay value in this game, other than like you can take different routes through levels, like in Sonic, you know, like not like huge changes in the levels, but you know, there's a bit of exploring you can do. But yeah, it's a bit weird, you know. What's up next? RC Grand Prix. I'm gonna be real with you. This video has been in development hell for a little while. It's been a second since I played these games, but it's fine. I just replayed them. I'm replaying them right before recording again, so I just need you to understand what I'm going through, okay? Okay. Anyways, RC Grand Prix. It's a nice little game. It's another one of your camera. It's racing game. Cameras above you. Game controls with tank controls. Which I feel like when I say that, people probably expect worse than it actually is. It controls perfectly fine. But yeah, you know, good little game. I like how, so you control, like, little toy cars. So you're racing on, like, a giant table, and, like, every, like, racetrack is, like, somewhere on that table, and the racetracks, they, like, you know, they, like, intertwine with one another, and it's just, you know, it's nice. It's nice having them all be, like, loosely connected, you know, it just helps. There's, like, a little world here. It's neat. It's cool. Yeah. You know, is this a game that I'd, like, highly recommend? You must play? No. It's RC Grand Prix, you can see it. But, you know, it controls well. It's got some nice little mechanics. It's a nice little game. Yeah. Alex Kidd in Shinobi World. they finally made a decent Alex Kidd game. Yeah, a good game all in all. I wish it was longer. It's a very, very short game. Like, it has, like, 3 bosses, and, like, I wish there was more. Like, this game has, like, interesting movement tech and stuff like that. Like, it's got a lot of interesting mechanics to it. But, yeah, the game is so incredibly short that it's, like... There's so many points where, like, you learn, like, the tech to do, like, a jump. And you only use that jump like once throughout the game, and it's like, I wanted to see just more, you know? Wanted to see a lot more, but yeah, this game's nice, it's well made, I don't have any complaints really at all, just good game all in all. It is limited continues though, which is to be expected with a game this short, but yeah, they did it. They made good Alex Kidd game. Aerial Assault. So this is actually a really nice shoot 'em up, I'd say. Maybe not really nice, that might be overselling it. Yeah, just really well made shoot 'em up all in all. But, you know, it's your more typical, you're a fighter plane, go and shoot another fighter plane style shoot 'em ups. And I don't know, I feel like it just limits them. You know, I feel like most shoot 'em ups that do this, it's just very limiting, you know? Like, it's a well made game, but you know, I can only be so interested in shooting the, like, same sort of other fighter pilots for so long. You know, I like your more, like, space-themed ones where they are just like, fuck it, throw anything at the player, you know? Compared to these ones where it's like, oh, this is something that may actually exist. Oh, here's a missile. You know, it's like, it's just not super interesting to me, you know, but very well made game. Also pretty. There's so much, like, parallax scrolling in this game. It's very, very pretty. Very pretty, good music, just well made, but yeah, I think after a while it does get a little, boring. Yeah, what's up next? Watch me actually say what's up next. I haven't been doing that throughout this video, I've just been cutting to the next game, you know, and, yeah. But whatever, you get a whole long intro for this one, okay? Okay, what's up next? It's Columns. I don't know what happened during production of this game. I think this game might have been designed for the Game Gear originally, and not the Master System. I don't know what happened. But, yeah, it looks like shit. The game screen is tiny. It's no good. It's no good. It's just, you know, in my personal opinion, Columns is already definitely one of the weaker puzzle-style games, just out there in general. It's definitely a weak one. It's nice for the Master System to finally have at least one of this genre. You know, it's nice that there's anything here for the Master System, but yeah, it's just not a very interesting game. You can't fight against CPUs or anything. It's very much what you see is what you get, and what you see looks like shit, you know? Sorry, Columns. And I feel like I need to make it clear, I'm like a huge fan of Columns 3. I love Columns 3. But yeah, this original game on the Master System, it's... Don't play it, okay? Play the other versions of the game, please. Please. eSWAT. This is a game. That's like all I have to say about it, honestly, you know? I've played it before, I forgot it. I just played more of it right now to try and refresh my memory, and like, yeah, it's a game. It's a game. You know, you walk forwards and you shoot people. It's very fast-paced. Yeah. I don't know. You hold right and you push pew 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 pew. There's not much to say about it. Sorry, eSWAT, you're just not that interesting. Paperboy. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a huge fan of this game. I've played multiple versions of this game. Yeah, this is a port from the arcade. I'm just not a big Paperboy fan. I will say, this is a very good port of the game. It looks very nice, the controls very nice. It's got some little bonuses here and there. It's a nice port of the game. Is it worth playing? For a couple minutes, yeah, sure. You know, I also think it's worth noting, with me saying that this is a really good port of the game, this released 2 years after the NES version did. So, you know, it's definitely a late port. I'm pretty sure the original game came out in like 1987, and this came out in 1990. And yeah, it's, you know, oh shit, sorry, looking at it now. The original game came out in 1985, so, you know, it took 5 years to get ported over to this console, which... late, just, you're late, you know? You did well, but if this could have happened at the start of the console's life, things would have been different. You know? But yeah, you know, it's Paperboy. I didn't explain any of the game mechanics. You throw the paper at the house, and you try not to get killed in the process. Okay, thank you for coming to my TED Talk about the mechanics of the game. Okay, what's up next? Super Monaco GP. This is an interesting little racing game. Yeah, I say as a car races past my house. Wonder if you can hear that. But yeah, so instead of your typical racing game where you control like the gas and the brakes, this game you control the gear that you're in. And like, oh, it's cool, it's neat, you know? Gotta, you know, gear up to go faster, gear down to go slower. Yeah, it's an interesting little game. I will say, I have complaints, because of course I do. One, so there's like a lot of settings you can like put on your car. You know, you can have like different tires, you can have a different engine, you can have like a different like wing thingamabob in the back of your car. There's like a lot of stuff, which is nice and cool, but the game doesn't tell you what like any of it does. So you kind of just gotta experiment and hope for the best, which you know is like nice, but you know, it adds replay value, absolutely, but I kind of wish I had any idea what anything did on a first impression, you know? That, and my other complaint was this game feels really slow, all in all. Like, it takes forever to speed up, it takes forever to slow down, you turn, there's no traction, it's like turning on ice, it's like you get to a turn and like you fully stop and then just slowly turn, and then you slowly accelerate all the way up, and then come to a full stop at the very next turn, and slowly turn, and it just felt very slow. Like, I like the gearing mechanic, I like how you're not, like, controlling the brakes and the gas. It just feels different, it's cool, but yeah, I feel like it was possible to do this concept and have it, like, play fast, you know? Every time I play a racing game and it feels slow, it's just like, really? Like, isn't the point to feel fast? You know? Yeah, it was close, but not quite. Joe Montana football. I'm gonna be honest with you, I just woke up somewhat recently. I'm too tired to play football. You know, like, I played a bit of it, it's football, it's a little slow-paced, this one. It, honestly, I felt like a lot of the time, like, this game, you essentially only play as, like, one person on your team, it seems, and, yeah, so my, like, CPU teammates were doing, like, the majority of the game. You know, they were running with the ball and all that shit, and I was just here trying to run and keep up with them. I don't think I actually, like, did anything for my team. I think I just kind of ran in a circle. But yeah, it exists. Sure. What's next? Dick Tracy. This is a game that exists and is probably perfectly fine. I'm gonna be honest with you, there's a Genesis version of this game. It's essentially the same game, except better graphics and better made, so, you know. This Master System version, it's sure trying its best, but you know, when there's a better version of the exact same game that's already out, it's a bit hard to, suggest this one, you know? Like, it's a game, it's fine, you know? You walk forwards, you shoot the people, except this time you gotta be a bit more careful than in, eSWAT was the last game I used that exact same description on. You know, you gotta be a bit more careful on this one than eSWAT. But, yeah, you know, also there's a little bit more to this game. There's just, slightly different camera angles and whatnot that happen throughout, you know? Like, it's a mildly interesting one. Would I recommend it? No. If you want to play this game, play the Genesis version. Not this. But even then, would I recommend the Genesis version? Not really, no. It's fine, but, yeah. Alright. What's next? Ghouls and Ghosts. Now, it's worth noting, I haven't played the arcade version of this game. This is a conversion of the arcade game. This game got a million ports to stuff. I've only beaten the Master System version. And I'm pretty sure this version changes a lot about the game. Like, there's, like, power-ups and whatnot you can, like, buy throughout the game. You have a lot more health in this version of the game. There's unlimited continues and permanent checkpoints constantly throughout the game. Like, one every time you enter a boss fight, and there's one at every single level, and, like, you might have caught on by now. I think this game is way too easy. I think it's way too easy. Like, it's made well. Yeah, it's made well. I really like the music. It's you know, your typical Ghouls and Ghosts soundtrack. It's good. It's very, very good. I like the art, like, a lot. That final boss art is done really, really well, though it's too easy. You know, you get to the final boss, and you just kind of shoot up, and then he dies in genuinely 15 seconds. In my playthrough, I literally saw the final boss for 15 seconds. And that was that. But yeah, good game, well made, would recommend. But it's just too easy. Also, this game has a second loop, which is required, which is interesting, because... So you get to the end of the game. They don't let you enter the final boss fight. They send you back to the start of the game. And now you gotta play through the entire game again. Except you keep all of your, like, upgrades and whatnot that you collected throughout the game. So, yeah, you just play through the entire game again. Except, it's really, really easy. And it's like, what? it's just odd. Like, it's not bad, you know, even with the second loop, the game took me a little under 2 hours to beat. Like, it's another really short game, so, you know, it's, like, fine, but... It's just strange. Wish it had more challenge. Alright, what's up next? Castle of Illusions, starring Mickey Mouse. Surprisingly good game, yeah, another somewhat shorter one. It's not a very long game, but it does have unlimited continues. It is long enough for that, so that's nice. And yeah, good game all in all. It's surprisingly well done. I don't have many thoughts about this, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's good. You know, it's, you know, maybe possibly a bit on the easy side. It's a Mickey Mouse game. Is anyone surprised? The final boss sequence is actually really well done. I enjoyed that final boss a lot. That's well done. Like, the game's just all around well made, you know, it's got quality. Does it have any, like, interesting decisions for me to really talk about? No. But, like, you know, it's nice. This is a game that, in fact, like, functions and exists and is probably worth checking out. Yeah. Good for Mickey Mouse. Golden Axe Warrior. So, the follow-up to Golden Axe on the Master System is a game that has almost nothing to do with Golden Axe and everything to do with Zelda. It's, yeah, you can probably see it now. This game is fully a Zelda clone. Normally I hesitate to call games clones of one another, but it's Zelda. This game is just straight up Zelda 1. You know? Like, yeah, so I'm gonna be comparing it to Zelda 1 throughout this, like, entire review. I'm gonna assume that people here know what Zelda 1 is and what it's like, but yeah. So, imagine Zelda, except without bombs, so there's no bombable walls in the dungeons, everything's pretty straightforward in the dungeons, and also just without many of the puzzles in general. You know, this game is very, very straightforward, like, insanely straightforward, you know? You search every tile on the map, and you'll most likely be perfectly fine, you know? You search everywhere, you find a dungeon, that dungeon gives you an item, that item lets you explore more of the overworld, and that more of the overworld you're about to find another dungeon, and, you know, it repeats. You know? Like, very straightforward game. Also the combat is slightly different, the movement I should say. You can stop in between each tile. Not, like, anywhere, but, like, in the middle of each tile, you can, like, stop. Where in Zelda, you, like, have to sit on the middle of the tile, where in this game, you can sit on the middle of the tile or in between two tiles. So there's, like, you know, double the points in the game to, like, move, you know? Which, honestly, I didn't find that to be a great decision. Like, it's fine, you know, the combat in this game is perfectly fine, but I liked Zelda 1's style of being more just, I don't know, stiff, almost? Zelda 1's very much like you gotta, like, set yourself up for the enemy, be on the correct tile, be facing the correct way, time to kill everything. Where this game felt more like a run around and hope you don't get hit while spamming the attack button. You know, it just felt more messy in general, honestly. But, yeah, a lot of people tell you this game is better than Zelda 1. Honestly, kinda rightfully so. Like, I personally prefer Zelda. I do. But they're very close, you know? Like, if I was to replay one of the games, I don't know. I don't know which one it would be, honestly. Like, they're so close in my brain. Like, I think the big difference really is, like, Zelda is a game where you're gonna be lost for hours at a time trying to figure out what to do next, where this game, not at all. Not really. You know, it's very straightforward. You know? Like, Zelda has those, like, big, like, eureka moments of you finally did it, fuck yeah. This game, not really. No, you just kind of keep pushing forwards, you know? So it's like, you know. This game is Zelda without the highs, but also without the lows. Also, can I just say, removing the bomb mechanic from the bombable walls makes it so much smoother, you know? In Zelda, in the dungeons, there's multiple walls that you need to bomb in order to progress. And if you run out of bombs, then you need to leave the dungeon and farm for them, and it's just a mess. Where in this game, well, I mean, technically this game does have a magic system, and you do need to use the magic to get through the dungeons, and it is a limited resource, but in this game, if you die, you respawn with more magic. So, you know, worst case scenario, you die in the dungeon, and then you're perfectly fine. Where in Zelda, you die, you don't respawn with any bombs, and you're just fucked. So, yeah. I don't know, Golden Axe Warrior. Good game. Would recommend. Would absolutely recommend. Yeah, cool.
Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. Yeah, Michael Jackson got a game on the Master System. This game also has a Genesis version, which is better.
That's, you know, we're into the final few Master System games, so yeah, like all these got a Genesis release, but you know. So yeah, if you're gonna play this game, play the Genesis version, but if you wonder what this game is, you play as Michael Jackson, and you go through a house, and you open doors. And sometimes in those doors, there's like children that you pick up. And sometimes there's enemies that you gotta like kick. I find the gameplay loop far too simple in this game. It's such a simple little game. There's not much going for it. Especially for this late of a release on the system, there's just not a lot here. I'm not a big fan of this game. You know, I've played it a good bit. I've also played a good bit of the Genesis version. Even that I don't care for much. It's just so simple. It's so simple. But yeah, you know, it's Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. There's nothing much here. Strider. This game's interesting. It tries shit. It sure tries. You know, the game runs terribly, the controls are not very good, but you know, it's just interesting, you know? It's got an interesting movement, it's got some interesting enemies and level design. It's an interesting little game. I highly respect this game. Would I play it? No. But I respect it. I think it's cool, but I'm gonna look from far. If you're not sure what it is, it's an action platformer sort of thing, but you can do, like, backflips. It's cool. Spider-Man vs. the Kingpin. This is, I wish this game released earlier in the system's life. This game, it's a mess a little bit. It just feels like a mess. That's the best way to put it. It just feels like a mess. The controls, they're a mess, but they're fun. The enemies are a mess, but fun. The level design and what you have to do, mess. Complete mess. The whole game. It has an interesting mechanic, though, where you're on a time limit for the entire game. The time limit's huge, though, and in order to heal after each level, you need to sacrifice a bit of the time limit. So the better you do in a level, the less of the time limit you have to sacrifice to get more health. Also, yes, this game is limited continues / you're just gonna have game overs and restart the whole thing. You know, like, it's a fun one, it's an interesting one. This is the second to last game that released in the States. And I would have hoped for some polish by now. You know, I would have hoped that in, like, the end of this console's life, they would have figured out maybe how to make a game with polish, but they really didn't, you know? Like, I feel like if this released in, like, 1988, this would have, like, fucking slapped, you know, 1988 or before, amazing game. Late 1991, yeah, no, leave it to die somewhere. I don't know, in a landfill probably. Yeah. And what a fitting way to end this system. We got Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, it's actually really nice. It's really nice, I'd say. Is it as good as the Genesis game? Honestly, debatably, yeah, I'd say. It plays really well. If I had to complain about it, The game lags a lot. Like, the game feels like it can only handle, like, 2 enemies on screen before it starts to slow down, and it's a bit rough in that regard. But, you know, they design around that's where there's rarely multiple enemies on screen, so it works really well. Yeah, good game, good game. It's just very good. What I really like about this game is how easy it is to get, like, extra continues, all in all. Like, this is one of those, like, limited continue games that, like, keeps the tension up at, like, all times. I feel like most limited continue games, you know, like, things really only get, like, tense near the end when you're, like, almost out of lives and continues and it's, like, fucked up and evil. Where, in this game, you start out with, like, no continues or lives or anything, but it's, like, easy to gain them. So, like, you know, there's this, like, constant... I don't know, in my playthrough, I went, like, back and forth between having, like, nothing and having everything and having nothing and having everything, like, multiple times throughout my playthrough. And I really like that. It worked really, really well. Yeah, good game. Good game. My phone just went off. I hope you didn't hear that. I don't want to re-record this, okay? Okay. But yeah, good. Ended it on a high note, absolutely. So, you thought that was all the games, I thought that was all the games I was gonna review, but you know, it isn't. Why? Because there were 20 games released in Japan that didn't get released in America, and I felt like looking at them, because one of the major criticisms of the Master System in America is games not getting localized. And I figured, you know, let's look at the Japanese games and just see what didn't get localized. I'm gonna try and do this all in one take. It's gonna be rough, but you know, let's go. Great Soccer, it's a soccer game. Pit-Pot, they should have absolutely localized Pit-Pot. I kinda love Pit-Pot. It's I think a mix of like Dig Dug 2 in Legend of Zelda, except before Legend of Zelda released. It's a very small game. It's almost set up like a Atari 2600 game, where there's multiple difficulty options at the start, and each difficulty option leads to like, I don't know, I'd say 15-minute long game. You know, it's nothing much at all. I think I played on, like, the normal difficulty, the beginner difficulty, and, like, the grid map of, like, the dungeon. I think it was a 4x4 grid, like, tiny game. But, you know, really cool, honestly, interesting shit. You know, great baseball? It was baseball, it was fine. You know, this is a card game, it was released on the Sega Master System's, like, card type of cartridge. You know, it's a tiny game, there's not much you can do graphically, it's fine. You know, it released in 1985, it's like, your expectations can't be that high. You know? Satellite 7. This is, you know, a functional shoot-'em-up. Is it great? No, I found that, the bullets and yourself honestly just move really, really slow for my taste. It was just very slow, you know, but perfectly functional. Also, once again, released from 1985, you know? You can't be too hard on these games. You know? Comical Machine Gun Joe. I'm amazed I got that name correct. I'm looking at the wiki right now if it's not clear. Yeah. Interesting little game. Very, very fast-paced, I feel like. I might need to put some footage up of this game. I might. So, enemies can come from the sides of you and shoot at you from there, or in front of you, to, like, in, like, a diagonal and whatnot. I don't know, this game plays on, like, multiple planes, and there's, like, stuff shooting you from, like, all directions, and, like, everything is a one-hit kill, including yourself, and it's a very chaotic little game, but honestly, I really enjoyed it. Good little game. Is it something I'd recommend putting, like, hours into? No, but it's fun, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna mispronounce this one entirely, but High School Kimigumi? Something. I played a little bit of this with the English patch and a little bit without the English patch. I definitely feel like you do need the English patch. Definitely. Honestly, I don't think I got a full grasp of this game, really. I think it's like a little adventure game thing, so it takes place in a high school, as you might figure by the name, and you go around to like different classrooms, picking up items, and I think using items in different rooms to try and capture people? Get people into attention? Detention? Something. I don't know. I don't really know. Like, it's an interesting little one. There are other games I'd rather put my time into, though. You know, there's some good stuff here. Great Golf. You know, it's fine. Is it fine? Like, it's alright, but I gotta say, I do like the golf games on the NES more. I like, they just felt more correct. They felt more... I liked the gameplay a lot more in the NES versions. you know, but this game here, it's fine, it's playable, you know. I think if you put like a good hour into it, you would really understand the physics, and it would be, you know, golf. Nothing stand out, but you know, it's 1986, it's golf. I'm not even gonna try and pronounce that, but there's a Sherlock Holmes game for the Master System, released in 1987, and you know, it is completely unplayable for me because I couldn't find an English patch. It's so fucking sad. So this is like a little point-and-click adventure game, text adventure game shit. And it kind of looks really, really interesting. I really wanted to play this one, and I put a good bit of time into it, trying to get out the first room. It never happened. You know, it's hard to solve a mystery when you can't read the mystery, you know? I wish this one got an English patch. I do. It looks cool, but I can't have much of an opinion on it because, you know, it didn't make it out the first room. Woody Pop. So this is a Arkanoid, except every time you beat a level, you have an option of moving, like, up to the next level, or to the right to the next level, or to the left to the next level, which means that, like, you have, like, a choice in, like, which level you're gonna do next, and, like, it's kind of cool. I enjoy it. You know, it's a good little, it's a good Arkanoid game, yeah. It's worth noting, I totally didn't say this, so over in Japan, they got a paddle controller for the Master System that never released anywhere else. So, yeah, Woody Pop, the Arkanoid game, it's a paddle game. I personally played it with the D-pad through emulation. It worked fine like that, honestly, but yeah, if you're wondering why some of these games did not get localizations, it's because we just didn't have the controller for them. But yeah, Woody Pop, nice one. It's worth noting, I should say this. This game has, it's either limited continues or no lives, whatever it is. Whenever you game over, you need to restart the entire game. So being able to choose like different routes throughout the game really helps with that. Makes it not as big of a problem, you know, it keeps the game fresh despite you restarting the game constantly, you know? Okay, another one I'm gonna completely mispronounce, okay? Okay, are you ready for this? Sukiban Deka 2. I tried. You know, okay, this game's really fucking good. How dare this not get localized? I love this game a little bit. I just beat it yesterday, and like, you know, a good game. So, think Spellcaster, except you only have one life. Whenever you die, you need to fully restart the game, but also it's fine. Honestly, this game's not that hard all in all. And then a bit more of a focus on the like first-person adventure stuff. And replace the platforming levels with beat-em-up levels, and like bosses and whatnot. And like, it's really good, you know? It's very fast-paced. It's got a lot of different genres into it, like, there's a fucking sliding block puzzle. Like, what? This game has first-person dungeons, the sliding block puzzle, like proper puzzle, logic puzzle thingamabob. You have your beat-em-up sections of being attacked by multiple enemies. You have your bosses. You have your point-and-click adventure shit. It's got a lot to it for what it is. It's not a very long game. And for me, it took, I think, like 2.5 hours. And yeah, you know, I was playing pretty slow. I was playing very, very cautiously. You know, I was like, okay, if I die, I need to restart. So we're just gonna play very, very slowly. I think the long play for this game is like 20 minutes. I think so. But yeah, I would recommend this one. It is worth noting, though, some of the puzzles in this game are so fucking obtuse. There are definitely moments in this game where it's like, I would have never figured that out if I didn't bail and look at the walkthrough, you know? But yeah, I should say more about this game instead of moving on to the next one. A part of the reason this didn't get localized is one, because there's a lot of text in it, and two, this is based on a Japanese manga/anime thing, bob and whatnot. But like, even then, I've like still localized it. I'm pretty sure Spellcaster was the same sort of situation, except they just fully rebranded the game. But even then, I don't think you need to rebrand this one. I don't think you do. Like with Zillion. Zillion's fully based on an anime, and they just released it in America without the anime being over here, and like, it's fine, you know? Yeah, sure, release the anime license game without like actually like releasing the anime. It's fine, it works. Yeah. Alright, the Pro Yaku Pendant Race. I might have pronounced that correctly. Maybe, possibly. I'm gonna need to edit in, like, text on screen for all of this to, like, show the words I'm trying to pronounce. Yeah, from what I remember, that's how you know I have a good review of this game. It was like a very serious little, like, my brain always wants to call them, like, soapbox, like, racers, like a little kart racers where, like, the camera's directly above the track, and you gotta, like, choose to go, like, left or right and whatnot. Like, your little, like, tank control, like, racing games. Yeah, that's what I always want to call them. I don't know what the proper term is, but... yeah, it's one of those, it's very serious. Yeah, strangely serious. It works out well, though. Unless, shit, I'm thinking of the wrong game. We're gonna leave that in, this section is way too long, I feel like, for me to do, like, multiple takes and script it. This is a baseball game. This is totally a baseball game, isn't it? I'm thinking of the wrong game. Yeah, this is a baseball game. I heard the word race and I was like, oh, this is a racing game. No, this is baseball. It was fine. It's still baseball. Is it great? Not really. It has significantly better graphics than the card one that we talked about before, but, it's still baseball. It didn't really stand out to me. We have a Mahjong game. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know how to play Mahjong. I thought the animations were done really well. Very smooth. Yeah, I don't have many thoughts on them, honestly. Like, it's Mahjong. I don't know how to play it. Alex Kidd BMX Trial. This is another paddle game. Honestly, I cannot get this game to work super properly for me. If it's not clear, hi. I don't have a paddle controller, so I was trying to emulate a paddle with a D-pad, and that just, it's always a little rough. But, yeah, this game, it existed. I sure tried. I sure tried. I don't think there's much here anyways, but yeah. I sure crashed my bike off the road on every single turn. I sure did. I'll admit it. Galactic Protector. This was a little interesting one. Neat little concept game, I feel like. That's how I feel about a lot of the Master System ones, just like concept games rather than full things. So you play as a planet. It changes based on the level which planet you are, but you play as a planet, and you gotta, like, rotate like a little, like, a missile launcher thing around the planet to, like, shoot, like, asteroids and whatnot that are about to hit you. It's an interesting little time, it's a fun little time. If it's not clear, this is another paddle game, so, it definitely didn't play as well as it probably should have for me, because I don't have a paddle, but yeah, nice little game. Nice little time. Then we have, I'm not even gonna try saying the Japanese game name for this game, but we have a port of Ryguard. Ryguard was casually ported to the Master System, and they just didn't release it in America. They just didn't release Ryguard. What the fuck? This game's a mess though. Honestly, it really is. Like, it's a fun one. I think this game is significantly better than shit like Alf. How did Alf get released in America and not like this, But yeah, it's very, very fast-paced. For the first half of the game gives you, like, unlimited continue points. Like, constantly, you take, like, 3 steps forwards, and the game's like, okay, you continue from here now, for forever. And, it's great. It's absolutely great. My cat is getting into shit. Do I need to cut this? Do I need to? Okay, 1 second. Alright, I've stopped my cat from getting into shit. This is a really well-scripted section of the video. Totally. But yeah, Ryguard. It's not a great port of Ryguard. The game's kind of a mess, all in all. It's very fast-paced. It's What my favorite thing about playing through this game was sometimes you'll, like, scroll the screen weirdly, or you'll, like, pause the game and then unpause it, and the game wouldn't really know how to handle it, so it would replace the graphics with, like, the code of the game. Like, the entire game would just get replaced by 1s and 0s. Like, the graphics would. Like, it would still function just fine. It would just be like, oh, there's all the 1s and 0s. Like, it's a little bit of a mess, I gotta admit. But it's a fun one. Yeah, sure, fuck yeah, play those, absolutely. Oh boy, chat, oh boy. Okay, that's the game, cool. I'm reading this title in the Wikipedia article, and I'm like, I don't know what game this is. I'm not gonna try and pronounce the Japanese name because I don't have to, but the Japanese name translates to Searching for the Stars. In the English patch, changed the name to The Story of Mao. And good fucking game, good little adventure game, very short. I think this game took me like 3 hours, if that. very, very short. But, you know, so basically, this takes place on the world of Phantasy Star, because fuck yeah. And you give your girlfriend, animal. It turns out the animal went extinct 50 million years ago, and no one knows how to take care of the animal, and it's like fucked up and evil, and you need to learn how to take care of the animal. And then, not to spoil the entire thing, but you know, by the end of the game, y'all come to the conclusion that maybe y'all can't take care of the animal, so then you find the planet the animal is from, and you return it back home, and like, oh my god, it's so fucking depressing. You know, you go to the little planet, and you give up your little cat guy, and it's like so sad. It's so fucking sad. But good little game, absolutely a good little game. I understand why they didn't localize it though. There's a scene in this game where you have to like getting like a drinking contest. You have to do that. That's like a pretty big part of the game. Also, the game just having a million lines of text. Like, it makes sense not to localize this one, but oh, I wish they did. This game's great. It's great. It's great. Alright, Solemn's Key. I'm pretty sure that's the English title of the game. You know, I should probably double check that. Yeah, it's Solemn's Key. Yeah, it's Solemn's Key. This game also got a NES release. It's essentially the same thing over here. It's a nice little game. Is it something I put a ton of time into and I'm like, yeah, I want to beat this? No. But if, like, you know, if I have the game and I have nothing else to do, I'm gonna play it for a good few hours. You know, it's a fun little time. Yeah, I recommend Solemn's Key. It's just, you know, all around good little time. Sorry if you hear my cat licking the floor in the background. I have normal animals. Okay. Tensei Bakaban? Bakaban? We're gonna go with Bakaban. You know, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't play much of this game. This is one of the few games that definitely needed an English patch, and I just, like, didn't search for it. You know, this whole game, it was, like, going around the neighborhood, and it was like, oh, you're, like, a dumb little, like, caveman kind of guy. Isn't that silly? And I was just like, I don't fucking care. Sorry to this game. It probably has its fans. You know, it's a game where I took 2 looks at it, and I was just like, I don't care. I'd rather play anything else, actually. You know? I was like, what if anything else? You know? Okay. Fuck. Super Racing is what it's listed at. What is Super Racing? What is this game? There's a game called Super Racing in this Wikipedia article, and I don't know what Super Racing is. Sorry, my dog is running through the hallway now. This is a great section of the video. This is amazing. This is incredible. You know? Super Racing. Is that the racing game I was talking about before? Let me see. Are there any other racing games? No. Okay, so the racing game I was thinking of has to be Super Racing. It has to be. So, yeah, I already reviewed, like, most of it before when I was mixing up the games. You know? But yeah, very serious, like, tank control racing game thing. It plays well, it's nice. I think it should have been released over here. Absolutely. Is it a game that's gonna save the console? No, not at all. But, you know. It would have been fun. It would have been nice. Megumi Rescue. This is another paddle controller game. You know those... You've probably played something like it. You probably have. So, you control a little trampoline that a fireman is jumping on to reach a really tall building to save the people. And you know, yeah, it's, you know, it's a fun little one. You know, it's very much arcade style. You're not gonna put a ton of time into it, but you know, it's fine. It's fun. You know, sure, yeah, sure, play it. Maybe, possibly. If you like have a copy of the game, play it. I'm not gonna tell you it fucking sucks because it don't. But should you go out of your way to play it? Probably not. You know, probably not. Bubble Bobble. They didn't release fucking Bubble Bobble in America. I'm so sad about this. I wonder if it had, like, licensing issues with the NES version, like, being released over here. But, yeah! Bubble Wobble's a big one that probably really should have gotten a localization to America. It really, really should have. what's there to say about Bubble Bobble, other than it's Bubble Bobble, it's good, you should play Bubble Bobble, you know? So there's like 100 levels, they all take place within a single room, there's a mix of just random enemies and block designs in each room, and you gotta put all of the enemies in a bubble, and then you gotta hit the bubble to pop them, to kill them all. And, you know, it's a game that's overall pretty fast-paced, it's unlimited continues in every level, it's, yeah, you know, it's a nice little time, absolutely. Play Bubble Bubble! Go play Bubble Bubble! This not getting a release is insane, honestly. Okay, and now we have one more game. There's only one more, Now, chat, you can tell I'm a Twitch streamer, you know? What if I tell you, I don't know what the fuck this game is, and this game doesn't even have a Wikipedia article? Oh my god, it's more baseball! It's always fucking baseball. Yeah, it's baseball. I remember this one. Yeah! I'll put the name of the game on the screen now. But, you know, would you believe it, if I tell you that this is a baseball game with decent graphics, but I feel like I remember not caring for how it controlled. I feel like I don't remember liking the controls. You know, but yeah, it's baseball, you know? I find it funny how they didn't localize, like, any of the baseball games. I find it funny how, like, the main reasons games didn't get localized was either they have a ton of text, they use the paddle controller, or they're baseball. I find it funny how over in America Sega was like, fuck baseball, Americans hate baseball. Because it's like, what? It's wild. But yeah, okay, that's all the games that released in Japan that didn't release over in America, and you know, I think maybe they should have localized, like, all of these. You know, like, I'm a fan of Alf. I'm a fan of Alf for the Master System. I think it's a fun little game. But the fact that they thought that was okay enough to release, but not, like, any of this, it's, wild. It's wild. It's wild. Yeah, okay. But enjoy the next section of the video. I've been rambling for 20 minutes straight, okay? Have fun elsewhere, okay? Okay, bye. This is my third time recording this section. But yeah, hi, hello. We've made it through every single Master System game that was released in North America and surprisingly Japan. So yeah, I just want to say some final thoughts, ramble a bit. Yeah, this console. I am a little disappointed in it. Like, not really. I went into this hoping to find some, like, hidden gems and whatnot games. Not really. No, the games that people talk about for the Master System are the good ones, you know? Like, there's not much here to, like, discover, I wouldn't say. You know, like, yeah, nothing much. There's, like, all in all, like, I think all in all there was about 15 games that I thought were, like, worth beating for the Master System. About 15, which is not great for a console with, like, 160 games. You know, a lot of people tell you that the problem with the Master System in North America was just a lack of games being released. And, like, I guess that's, like, partially the problem. You know, like, yeah, if you throw, like, another, like, 300 games up the system, there's gonna be at least, like, one good one there that helps. But I think all in all, the problem, at least I'd say, was just lack of quality. You know, there was so much quantity over quality. Like, hi, I've gone through every single NES game that released in North America, and that console had a ratio of about 1 out of every 5 games, I'd say, being worth beating. Like, one out of every 5. Where the Master System hit around 1 out of every 10. And, you know, the NES also has, like, 600 games that released in North America compared to the Master System's, like, 160. So, you know, I think in order for the Master System to succeed with its, like, limited library of games, those, like, limited library games had to have been, like, significantly, like, just better quality, you know? I feel like the ratio of just good games had to have been significantly better. Like, I think if the Master System managed to hit, like, a 1 out of every 4 games being good, it would have been, like, perfectly fine. It would have been, like, an amazing console. But they just didn't hit it, you know? I don't fully know what the problem was with the games. I don't know what Sega was, like, on. I think a big part of the problem was just Sega, like, still really holding out for that, like, arcade style of gameplay, you know? So many of these games are so incredibly short and designed to, like, you know, keep replaying, you die at the final boss, keep replaying the entire thing, and, like, yeah, they're just, all these games for the most part, not all of them, but you know, a large chunk are designed with arcade-style gameplay in mind, and it just, you know, arcade games work well, they're really fun, but, you know, it's rare that you sit down at an arcade cabinet and play a game for like hours and hours, you know? Like, you put a couple quarters in the arcade cabinet, you play a couple rounds for, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes at most, and then you move on to the next thing. And, you know, that's fun, that's cool, it's great. But for a home console, designing games in a way that's fun for 20 minutes, it just doesn't work, you know? It just doesn't have the longevity that, you know, a home console needs, you know? It just didn't work. Also, I don't know, I know what's up with it, but it's also like, Sega, please. Like, one of the main things the Master System has over the NES is the Master System looks better, like graphically, it looks so much better than the NES, it really does. And like, the games really try and emphasize that, like, a lot of the games don't use any sprite flicker, they don't push the console at all, they don't do anything that could make the game graphically look worse. And that really holds back the game design, like, constantly, you know? Like, you look at, like, Bubble Bobble, one of the few games for the Master System that really supports sprite flicker, and you look at how many sprites and characters and whatnot that game can have on screen and just how much they're able to do with it. And then you look at, like, Sonic the Hedgehog, a game that has, like, 3 sprites on screen, and it, like, barely functions. You know, you put 3 sprites on screen and the entire thing slows down, and it's a mess, and, you know, like, don't get me wrong, Sonic the Hedgehog's a good game, but you know, when you have to design your games for the console in such a way to where there's only like 2 enemies on screen at a time, it hurts. It hurts the game design. It hurts the game design a lot when you have to design around that, you know? So yeah, also the amount of just games for like the add-ons, the peripherals and whatnot, like there are so many 3D glasses games, and like, for what? And like, the amount of games for the card system, like, why is the card system a thing? Like, why is it a thing, you know? They used it when the console first released. I should give a little more context. So, the Master System has a whole, like, card reader, like, built into the console. You had to pay for the card reader when buying the Master System. And all of, like, 10 games use the card system, and it's like, why? Like, I think Sega realized that even that was, like, a terrible decision, because I want to say around, like, 1990 or somewhere around there, they redesigned the Master System. Like, after the Genesis release, they redesigned the Master System to make it cheaper, to, like, really market it as, like, a budget console, and they got rid of the whole card reader and whatnot, which, good, but they should have done that from the start, in my personal opinion, you know? Absolutely. There's, like, why is everyone paying for this when no games use it, you know? It's a mess. And, like, the amount of light gun games, there are so many light gun games, and, like, I like a light gun game. But why does this console have, like, 20? They all play the same for the most part. Why are there 20 versions of, like, the exact same game? Why? What the fuck, you know? Like, it's just a waste of time, you know? Like, I would gladly give up a good, like, 10 light gun games if that meant we got, like, one, like, good RPG or something like that. You know, just a good game you can put, like, a ton of time into, you know? Like, yeah, all in all, I think it's a decent console. It's decent, you know? There's some games I'd recommend for it, but just the game library, it just isn't there, you know? But, yeah. I think that's all my thoughts on it. I think that is, you know? I'll be back with some video at some point. I don't know when. I don't know what my next video is going to be. It's probably not going to be reviewing, like, 200 games in a single video. I think this video's scale might have been, a lot, and this video might have been in development hell for, like, years. Maybe not years. Like, a couple months. But, yeah, as always, y'all are loved, y'all are cared for, and yeah, take care everyone. I'll see y'all the next time I see y'all. Also, wait, before I end it, hi, I stream on Twitch. If y'all want to, like, keep up with me, follow me on Twitch, you know? Do that. I'll put it somewhere in my channel, the link, okay? Okay, but yeah, take care everyone. Bye-bye.